He'll fix your economy. It fixed my economy too. Someone give me $1 million. I would do all really good things with it, trust me. The Warcraft 4 rumors? I haven't really heard Warcraft 4 rumors as much as I've heard people say, wouldn't it be awesome to have Warcraft 4? And other people go, yeah, I kind of would. And then no legitimate rumors. Top rated mothership or 3-player map. It is Clem. And the middle top left, it is Skillus. So yeah, those games still exist. It really is. I'll just give my opinion on how it played out, I suppose. Like, I do think Skillus would have been better off playing very defensive. He could have continued to expand, as he got a 5th up, so he didn't really have to expand too much more than that, but he could have. And he could have invested into harassment. You know, this is, I'm not saying this is the case. You cannot be like, Skillus, how dare you, because Skillus isn't the one saying this. But in a lot of other very late game TVP scenarios, what we would generally see is a very, very good main Protoss army, of course, like what Skillus got to. But then we would see, for instance, charge let run bys. DT blink harassment. Advancement of static defense, if given an opportunity. And I think Skillus had one. Where, you know, where his Warp Prism was set up, he could have actually started placing shield batteries down. We have seen super, super late game TVPs before, and I think we can all agree that this is what we've seen. Since Skillus didn't do any of that, it does kind of feel like he jumped the gun for no reason. There was nothing forcing him to do that. He was not in a precarious situation where his last chance was to throw all of his army into the Terran defenses. It's possible he really thought that he had Clem on the ropes when it came to the tech swap. He said, this guy has clearly overmade Vikings. He's only upgraded his Vikings. If I can just swap into Stalkers, I will win the game. That is possible. And it is also possible that he forgot charge, and charge lots were good. I'd say it's actually very possible when you're considering all the other things they might be thinking of when it comes to a new patch. As they both kind of made fun of it. There could have been, like, you know, a thought of like, oh god, I don't know how to make this any different. Let's see if this works, just because, you know, whatever reason. And you do kind of forget. But I feel like charge slots would have also been included if there is a real strategic, like, thinking 10 steps ahead situation where he was like, I'm going to get him with the tech swap. Well, I think if the case is that Skillus did not want to actually play that game and he just was like, god damn it, then he's not going to try and play that game, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is what we're seeing right now. He's like, you know, I got a game on the defensive air, and that was cool, because Clem tried to all-aim, it didn't work. And then I tried another one, and then nothing happened, and that was less cool. Let's go ahead and proxy again. First game was started with a proxy, now we're starting with 2 proxies. And it's a Void Ray that's popping out. And when I say proxy, it's one of the looser ways of saying proxy. This is nowhere really all that close, as he did not actually scout where his opponent was, seems to be the problem. Yeah, he didn't actually see where he was going, so he split the difference, just put it in the middle. Pylon coming down is not seen. Oh my god, that he doesn't see it. Clem knows that a proxy is on the way, and SCV is scouted double gas, no nexus. He's gonna get a Cyclone. Yep, Cyclone immediately. I don't have a lot of faith. Ooh, the Reaper scouted the Void Ray. I am pretty positive that's scouted that. Good news, because he's getting everything he needs against Void Rays, which is Marines and Cyclones, that's what they're called. If this was actually proxied, I would be... That was not cancel. I would be very worried. You know, this is where we do dig into our Legacy of the Void history. Think back to, like, 2021, was it? Was that when it was happening? 2020? And say, well, maybe you need to invest in the missile turrets. That wasn't even actually something you needed to do when they finally figured out how to deal with it more and more. As long as you just... as long as you respected the Void Ray's power and you did not over-engage, this is where then the Protoss would go into Tempest. You do need to worry about getting a siege tank as Clem to stop the shield battery buildup and allow them to camp your natural. And then they'll get into Tempest, and they'll continue to get more and more frustrating to deal with this, and that's exactly what Clem's thinking as well. Tank is on the way. Supply depots are gone, but he was very on point. I mean, this seems like it's not even been 6 years. He knows how to deal with a Void Ray proxy. And this is, again, not as proxied as it once was. It used to be way more aggressive. Did Skillis kill his own probe? Well, it is dead. Yes, he did. Or, well, a probe did die. Maybe that was another probe. Oh, he had to free up supply. Well. Well, that was good, Micro. Not exactly the most important thing in the world. Tank is sieged up, but you do want to start chipping away at the shield batteries usually. Clearly, Skillis has not practiced this build on the PTR because he's getting supply blocked often. So, and it really has to ramp up pretty quick. You can't lose a Void Ray early on. You can't lose your shield batteries early on. You can't get supply blocked early on. Because you need to kind of keep the ball rolling here on the aggression, especially when the Terran knows what they're doing. The Terran doesn't know what they're doing. They're like, what is this build? And then you could probably win no matter what. But when Clem has at least a year of experience dealing with this, it's been a while, but it's at least a year of dealing with bullshit like this. And he's clearly remembered it. He's doing a very good job. Vikings will get those last shots. Range is their biggest attribute. No shield batteries closer. We ran out of room with this gigantic mineral field, so thanks to Mothership Makers. I think Clem's got it. There has been no move over into Tempests, which is, you do need to eventually do that. Void Rays will also start to fail against Marines on the ground. The Vikings will start to kite them. If they get to the one-shot, then it's obviously worth going over the Stalkers to one-shot them. And the defense actually goes even better for Clem with increased resources. The argument that it's better for the Cheeser because they have more to fall back on doesn't really hold water here. So it's not nearly as beneficial. So then the tank will unsiege and just, maybe take up, I don't know. Hey, you don't want to put it on the ramp because then it blocks your units. Yeah. He's actually, he might even not, he might go for it. He might just go for it. Yeah, siege up the tank still for sure, but here you go. There we are. Marines doing enough of a job, honestly. Yeah, that's it. GG's. Clem will advance, defends the attempt to whip out the old proxy Void Ray. Didn't work. GG's. There are more games today. Raynor defeated Beyond 2-0, so now it's going to be Clem versus Raynor. Lambo versus Classic is also happening, and generally I would pretend to care about casting all of the upper bracket semis, but not anymore. I would prefer to watch the TVZ over the PVZ, even on the PTR. Cast a couple of PVZs, I think, last week, and meh. Meh. Actually, you know what? Lambo's PVZ has been kind of fun. You know what? Lambo vs. Classic, I think, is a rematch of something that happened last week. And they were pretty fun. He abuses some of the maps really cleverly. Is that a word? I think I was against Classic. What the hell was it, though? So yeah, we're definitely gonna just cast Clem versus Raynor, even though gotta give props to Lambo for playing some entertaining PVZs. I think the best thing about the patch so far as a commentator is that the music really is more varied when you're casting games. There's definitely soundtracks I've never heard casting. I've heard in the campaign. I've never heard them casting or playing, and now they play. It's a good fix on that one. Hit 4 workers are, yeah, that's why they're not here. They're DJing correctly. This is what we didn't name our cat Wicket, who, by the way, is being a real handful. She's trying to escape. She yearns for the coyotes that are outside. But we didn't name Wicket. We adopted her, and then we've gotten very lazy about naming our cats. But since we didn't name her, I don't really care about the name. But I do kind of find it fun to go, Wicket. So that's what she thinks her name is. How much of the current PTR do you think will make it to the main client? I am concerned. I have concerns. I have little faith. I want to put this correctly, you know. I want to frame it as a negative as much as possible. I have very little faith that they will change the PTR drastically, as in get rid of changes entirely. And so I think it will go through almost as is. They might do something really obnoxious and unnecessary, like make it 10 workers, because some of the people who like the 8 workers are trying to find a middle ground with people who don't like the 8 workers, and that's not the fucking middle ground, but whatever. Or they'll decrease the gateway units even more in terms of the time it takes to build, to make them even stronger. And then if it is like last year, when we were all types of excited and we were like, it's back, it's happening again, StarCraft's being paid attention to. Remember that? You know, like first we had the patch came out of nowhere, and then they actually fixed it within a week, and we were like... And then, you know what happens? They dropped us. They left. They actually pushed the second patch version through without any more testing. And just said, yeah, we're pushing it through. Like, I mean, they didn't even tell us. They just pushed it through. And we were like, oh, okay, I got, all right, that's what it is. Okay. And it's not... There's nothing in this time period that tells me it'll be any different. Even with BlizzCon upcoming and most likely a shooter coming out for StarCraft 2, so they might be paying a little more attention to us. I still don't really believe it. You're assuming they'll scrap all the changes? That is actually my hope, is that they'd scrap all the changes. Particularly if they are willing to admit to themselves that they will not be paying attention. Like, how honest are they with themselves? By the way, apparently we have a face to the name of the intern. If my calculations are correct, I could actually blame this one person and be really mean. But we shouldn't. We shouldn't. But if, it seems like they pay far more attention to Warcraft than they do to us. And it's possible. It's possibly because they like Warcraft more. It's also possible it's because this guy was an ex-Warcraft pro gamer. The inherent bias. I like to think it's not just some like inherent bias and he's like, you know, choosing what he does. It is probably more likely that Blizzard is more willing to pay attention to Warcraft because it has such a bigger IP. PTR feels like Raw Wings of Liberty. Does it though? Does it? Does it? Does it? Does it? No. You are incorrect. It's not even an opinion. You can't even, it's like, but it's my opinion. I feel like, no, it doesn't. You do not remember early Wings of Liberty. And I love you, Zelene, by the way. You're cool. You're a cool chatter. I don't want to actually. I'm not actually being mean to you. Did she just go with StarCraft versus Warcraft? Hey, it already exists in the arcade, doesn't it? And it's apparently pretty fun. I have no idea how balanced it is. Probably not balanced at all. 2 bunkers at the bottom of the ramp. 3 pylon wall off. Let's go. Reapers killing hatcheries in 2 seconds. Let's go. Alright, we should get some bets going here. In the middle left, we got Raynor. Top right, it is Clem. Yeah, I can't seriously take anyone's opinion when they're like, it feels like Early Wings of Liberty to me. Because there's 2 things wrong with that, right? Which is that 1, Early Wings of Liberty was so much worse. Early Wings of Liberty was literally 1 base versus 1 base TVP. Do I get the force load on the ramp? In TVZ, it was 2 hatch versus, you know, like a 1 base tank bush. It was so different. But then also, if they're referring to the ingenuity, you know, like, oh, it feels different because I need to figure out these new builds and there's new things to play around with, and that's what's exciting, and that's what reminds me about it, then it should have reminded you as well of early Heart of the Swarm and early Legacy of the Void, which has 12 workers. It should be reminding you of all of those phases. Because in all of the beginnings of expansions, we have had, wow, this feels brand new. This feels totally different. This reminds me of the old days. Look at all these cheeses. Look at how innovative I can be. You know how many people were proxy one-basing Widow Mines when Heart of the Swarm came out? Everyone. Everyone. Even I was. And that was back when I was a 3CC'er to the soul. I was like, well, I gotta try it. So there's a lot of like, oh, I feel like there's just such a, I don't know. The advertising of the worker change has been so effective. And I feel like I'm some like consumer reporter, you know, who's like getting in there and being like, no, they're lying to you. Like the propaganda isn't real. But because it feels like right off the bat, people were like, lower workers, Wings of Liberty. That's what it is. That's what we're missing. That's gonna fix everything. That's gonna transport me back to 16 years ago. I'm gonna be either in like middle, high school, or college. My life's gonna be great. I'm gonna have friends again. I'm not gonna have this annoying baby yelling in my ear. God! It's like the propaganda is very good. But it's not the case. And that's the only extreme that I really rebel against, you know, when people are like, no, like, you don't understand, it'll do all these things. And that's what I rebel against, you know, as far as actually thinking that this game is going to be broken or this game is going to be worse, like, I don't actually have strong opinions. I think it'll be very difficult for Protoss to overcome the warp gate change, though. I do think that is very concerning. But, hey, the worker change, it will give you the extra 2 minutes to think, and some people really like that. I think less people than who are saying it right now. Because I think a lot of people are like, it is slower, it is slower, it is slower, and then they do get into the rest of the StarCraft game, and it's just as fast as it ever was. But anyway, one base. We got a 1x expand, wasn't it? Versus obviously not a pull first, which Raynor was doing a little bit versus Protoss. The builds, as far as we've seen from the TVZs and the PTR, like one of the first ones was Bjorn versus Serral, Wardy. Or it wasn't even Wardy's tournament. It was someone else's. But he cast it. Or maybe it was his. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Exactly the same as Serral always played. The goal of StarCraft 2 will always be to maximize your ability to get to 3 bases saturation. For Zerg, obviously a little more, but basically. And the maps already help us do that. The maps are already helping us do that more than they ever did in Wings of Liberty. And people's knowledge of the game is also way better. So there's always going to be that to consider. Well, Hellion run-by is always a good thing. We do have some speedlings. Did not skip the speed here. And, you know, all you need is some to be effective, as you saw. A nice little block right there. Raynor with the moves. How many drones is he going to lose from this? Did he lose even one? I don't think he did. He did not. He lost the lings. That's it. Did make a handful more lings, but didn't overcompensate for the issue. Just literally 4 more lings. If another 2 Hellions dive in, trying to take advantage of the chaos, he's got the 4 again, just to interrupt their Hellion run buying just a little bit again. So really, really good response from Raynor. Clearly, he didn't want to have those Hellions run in, of course. So in that regard, Clem can get a little nana and a boo-boo. He did deny some mining, but it's not too bad. I am a little surprised that Raynor expands aggressively. He's known where his opponent is for a while. Right? I could be wrong about that. I thought his Overlord already saw a lack of command center by the time he took a 3rd hatch, but I might have been wrong. So that's kind of a bummer. You could argue that the 3rd base gets its creep spread. Oh, okay. He didn't have any anti-Banshee prep. There we go, prep. He didn't have any anti-Banshee prep, so he just tapped out because he's gonna lose way too much. They didn't have a lair for Overseers, and he didn't have any Spore Crawlers. I feel like how drastically different the early game feels so far, though. Board of the first of the 2 units in a 3-base meta every game. First of all, that wasn't every game. You weren't watching enough StarCraft 2, for the love of God. Because I came back to cast some StarCraft 2 on a regular patch with Meisters of the Game, and I immediately saw, this is me coming back, and it was different. So I feel like there's a gigantic, again, like advertising problem we have right now with StarCraft 2. That was not every game. Second of all, you could have always done whatever the fuck you wanted to do. You are not a professional gamer. If you're talking about purely watching, then we can focus on that. But Maru literally was doing like the 2 racks openers that, you know, Bjorn also throws into TDCs every once in a while, and then occasionally follows up with a 2 base or a 4 racks. Like, and whatever you think is different now, because it is a little newer and people are kind of messing up, you know, severely, like Raynor in that case, it is going to mellow out. People are going to streamline the game again, so we're going to have probably approximately the same amount of really boring games and interesting games. I can basically guarantee you that that will not change for StarCraft, because I've already witnessed a worker change. And the averages didn't really change all that much. The lack of swarm host mech thankfully stopped, but yeah, otherwise it didn't really change. Top left Rocks, Clam, bottom right it's Raynor. Can you come back more? Maybe. I'm not gonna, just to be super clear, I think that I said he didn't watch enough StarCraft 2, and that wasn't entirely fair. There are a lot of similar looking online tournaments. So if you came back in and watched a Monday Night Weekly, you know, last week or the week before, you probably saw a very similar game. So like, you know, I shouldn't be too severe. Because that's one of the reasons I was like, I don't really want to cast Monday Night Weekly. But it has far less to do with the type of games that were happening. How to say this? It was far less to do with the actual game providing variety as it was for the tournament setup providing variety. I mean, even Clem had stopped playing in the open weeklies. Like the player pool was getting so small, especially if you just jumped in for like the, you know, round 6 or whatever and beyond. You were seeing the exact same players, and of course that's going to increase the chance you're going to see the exact same games. But as soon as you have a bigger tournament, more prize, more prestige, you include a bunch of characters that you don't usually see, like Meisters of the Game did, that's when you're like, oh yeah, StarCraft 2 is fun, it's refreshing, like, yeah, okay, this is... Yeah. So, you know, in this case, yeah, I could totally understand what people are like, yeah, this game is just too similar all the time, and it's far less to do with the game, and a lot more to do with the amount of players that sign up to these tournaments. And it seems like it's become so much worse, because we did have a lot of pro gamers leave once EPT left. And we don't have any more main premier tournaments that, you know, people can come in on for their bi-yearly StarCraft 2 check and say, oh, look at all these really cool, awesome games that are happening at EWC. Like, I guess StarCraft's still alive. Way to go. No, they come back and they watch the same Monday Night Weekly that happened the last 4 weeks. The same ZVPs, the same PvPs. The same TVPs, I guess, more often. Like, Zergs would rarely sign up. So, like, that has been an absolute problem, but I'm telling you, it's not the game's fault. Yeah, the economy problem is the IRL problem. We don't have money being pumped into StarCraft anymore. Thank you, Pig, for bringing more supply blocks into our life. Everyone blame Pig. We got t-shirts. This was a pool first, by the way. So, as far as I understand it, there are some concerns about Zerg's super early game. That they cannot defend... Like, they don't have as much time... How to say? The Terran has more time with the first Reaper. There we go. Terran has more time with the first Reaper to be obnoxious. So, some pool firsts seem to be in order. Otherwise, you're giving yourself a bigger headache. (111) coming out for Clem. This time around, I'm guessing Raynor will be more on point about scouting the Banshees. Again, even as the game gets more similar to pre-8 workers, you know, like say like 5 or 6 minutes, right? You're generally doing all the things you would do, not getting supply blocked. You're kind of still thinking about that. You're still thinking about like, oh, I had to pull first, and okay, how did that? And then I almost got supply blocked at this one point, and then okay, that hit like a little bit later than you know. And so you're gonna see a lot of silly games whenever a PTR comes out that changes the very beginning of StarCraft. You're gonna have silly game endings that you wouldn't generally see. Still a change, but you should really be careful about change for the sake of change. You should really be careful, because one, you really gotta criticize what changes you would actually like change the game, basically. And kind of what I've been banging on about is that the worker change doesn't actually change the game that much. It still has a focus on getting to 3 base saturation as fast as possible, generally. This could be bad. Yeah, okay. A lot of Lings were actually built, so Clem thinks that there's an opening as the Queens were a little too far away, but it was a trap. Lings held up in the main base, ready for Clem to say, hey, anything in the natural? No? They were in the main base. And that did, you know, that forced Raynor to build Lings maybe more earlier on than he would usually like, but it worked. It worked very well. All the Hellions now out of the equation. 2 more are being built, and I imagine Clem will go ahead and give up on them. 4 is kind of that safe amount. And then the Banshees this time around were predicted. Not scouted, but they were predicted, and they were defended. So no abrupt ending of the game. Anyways, and then you got to worry about, you know, okay, so what if it doesn't change very much, or what if it changes everything? Like the warp gate, I think, would. And then change for the sake of change that breaks a game because it's meddling with something that's been iterated on for over a dozen years seems awfully dangerous to do just for the sake of change. Seems awfully dangerous. So I am really not a fan of that phrase, change for the sake of change. There's so many other things they could do that's less fundamental that would still feel very refreshing. They could change a lot of units in the game. They could add a new unit to the game. And I think that's way easier to fix if things go haywire. Yeah, that's a kind of a big one that's been brought up more and more, and I'm happy to see it. Kind of, I feel like since Lambo's video, maybe, is that they could also just have reverted a bunch of nerfs. They could have, if they wanted more early game aggression, they could have said, well, what nerfed this early game aggression? What nerfed that early game aggression? Because there have been many, many, many metas in Legacy of the Void that have had early aggression. And they could have changed that. You know, you want to be queen walked again? Revert the change. Revert the Ravager change. Revert the Queen Transfuse change. You want to get Nidus Storm on your main again and not be able to kill it because it's invulnerable? Revert that change. Go back to 2019. I know I'm like pinpointing Zerg, but there's other things. You want 3 racks to be viable again? Revert the creep spread change. Revert the way that I think they changed like the workers moved or something like that. You do that. Like why change something fundamental that could actually legitimately break the game? New song. Bunker salvage, that's right. Yeah, you can't salvage anymore if it's being hit. Yeah, yeah. There's so many things they could nerf. Or sorry, revert. Little 3-base push. We do have mutas on the way, and for those who are ready to say, look, mutas. 8 workers gives us all. Apparently, mutas were already coming back into the game anyway. And I think that we'd actually see mutas experimenting more with anyway. With their specific changes. They got 2 specific changes that actually, I would say, is a pretty massive buff to them. This kind of reminds me of Little Romance of the Three Kingdoms, actually, music. Push does do what it wanted. Kill the 5th base. Was it the most important base for mining? No, but we are on Ling Bane Ling Muta, and so Larva is always going to be a consideration. Rainery is already up to 80 workers, about to be up to 85, which is pretty ideal. And the mutas are starting to do their thing. So what exactly changed the mutas, right? There's the arc slop, which I remember because I didn't know what it meant. And then there was something else. And I forget what it was. But from my understanding, basically mutas... their priority. Their priority, that's what changed. Mutas will now prioritize, like, army units, rather than, like, supply depots with their glaive bounces. And then the arc slop has to do with, like, how far away they can be, or how close they can be before attacking or not attacking, like something like that. It has to do with like damage point as well, which is like how fast a unit will move after it, how fast a unit will attack, excuse me, after it moves. I definitely can visualize damage point, but I've kind of forgotten the arc slop thing. But I know it makes him better. Nice seeing mutas in PTR. Are you doing it? You troll me? Rage bait works. I'm raging. Do they want to keep Magic Box? I think so. You know, if you were going to change the way the air units work, you would have to basically just swap the way they work with Brood War. Like, you would never get rid of Magic Box. Magic Box is actually a very entertaining thing that, you know, changes the dynamic of muta play, and I definitely shouldn't be nerfed. How much they can shoot to the side without turning. Okay, yeah. And that's why I think it also is kind of related to damage point. Yeah. That's probably a simple way to put it. 4 bases to 5. Raynor has maxed out on drones and now is maxed out on army, hitting with 1-1 versus 1-1. Clem's tank not siege. Marine's taking a little while to actually get into a perfect spread. But we are going pretty deep into Terran territory, and we don't really want to do that. It's going to be a waste of a lot of banelings. A lot more army still reinforcing, and Raynor is going to have to back away. He backs away with a ton of banelings, though. Did not waste all of them at the very least, as some more are chased down. And as far as the grand scheme of things, was that good enough for the Zerg player? Probably not. He killed 5 SCVs. Command Center was able to lift to save itself. And we're still going to have to worry about, not quite 2-2 timing, but at least a +2 attack. 2 Thors survived as well, and that's going to be that nice amount against the increasing muta count, which is 20, going up to 22. Just a single upgrade on them as well. I'd say that was not what Raynor wanted, but the save on the Banelings, not the full committal, is going to give him a chance to defend here. It is going to be tough. Going to go for a little bit of a run-by with the mutas, the best he could do. Only a single missile turret should be destroyed pretty easily. And maybe a little distraction as well, but Clem is on the ball, and those Thors tank the Banelings if possible. The Marines backing away off of that creep. Man, I got the little split. There we go. Little split. As Raynor is also distracted, keep in mind, as his mutas try and do some significant damage. They are doing significant damage. Where'd the SCVs? Where'd they go? Wait a second. The SCVs were pulled away as Clem looked to just focus on the frontal micro, but by doing that, he didn't have any to actually repair, given the opportunity. Big mistake there from Clem. Multiple battles happening at the same time. A true test of multitasking for both of our players. Clem was able to evacuate with most of his army, however, so he'll pull back. Defend a second wave here from Raynor. Raynor's 2-2 about to match his opponents, but again, off of creep. Dipping this far into the Terran with so many Marines. Not going to work out here. Marauders tank the Banelings. Tank does go down, but another one still exists, and lots of Marines. Thor about to pop out in the main base as well. But these mutas doing a heck of a lot of damage. Medivacs are also going down. They're almost out of juice, really. Reactor targeted is not a bad target at all. All of things that can interrupt the Terran momentum. As the Thor decides to target the Thor, I don't know about this. I already heard a couple of mutas go down. Well, Thor is expensive, to be fair, and the Medivac and those Marines. How many mutas have died? 14. It's always such a dangerous choice to actually use your mutas aggressively like that. Gonna continue investing into a +2 on the way. Hive is done, but we don't have any tech transition as of yet. The focus here is on rebuilding as this game has heated up, and Raynor might be seeing an opportunity to actually kill Clem, because the 4th base is gone. At the very least, he can continue to push off the 4th base of his opponent, either because it won't be able to land, or because Clem will be too busy replacing his army. Banelings trying to crash into the workers, instead crash mostly into the command center without killing it. And that was a big loss of Banelings. But SCV is also going down to the main base, still not having the perfect response to all these mutas. Another Thor finally pops out. And just enough Marines and a missile turret. Clem going to be a bit of a YOLO right here. Going to go on to creep. He scans ahead. He sees the Banelings just now forming. Decides that he can make a push for it. It is exceptionally dangerous. There is so much creep spread. It's like the one avenue he can go up where he can back away off of creep. But that's, it's a little sus. A lot of Marauders in the front. Certainly hoping to tank all the Banelings as Raynor tries to get maxed out yet again. +3 attack is finished on the bio. Just a pretty critical moment. I mean, this could be the game, one way or another. Big Widowmine shot. And it's still alive for a second one. Raynor would love a different way to approach this if he could find one, but he is up on the ropes trying to defend this base. He's going to try and save it. He's going to go in. Another Widowmine did burrow. It's going to get a pretty decent shot. Still a lot of Marauders left alive. Tons of Marines as well. The mutas can't really get in here until those Marauders, the Marines, are dealt with, and they're not being dealt with. Decides to go for the Thor. Lots of damage, tons of damage on the mutas. The Widowmine pops up as well. Widowmine's actually taking care of the rest of the Banelings as the Marines did their job. There's still a lot of Banelings left over, so they still have to be careful as he ran back up the ramp. Yeah! Clem down 30 supply, 30 army supply, in fact. That was one of his last hurrahs. He does still not have a 4th base, forced to lift his main. Very vulnerable 4th trying to defend. Not impossible if he's able to keep the pressure up, but clearly Raynor has pushed back the Terran. He's getting to his own 3-3. That's still, is like pound for pound. 3-3 still much better on bio, but at least you're matching it on your Baneling Muta. Obviously no way for Ultras to come out easily. This is still a very, very, very tight game, although it looks like it's heading more and more into Raynor's favor. Juno Gland's also finding the resources for that. Might want to get that faster, I don't know. But obviously it's a very, very good upgrade to get, and that's really going to increase the options of the run-bys. I mean, they're already going to be effective against all orbital defenses, but Cracklings, they're going to devour these SCVs, alongside the Muta run-bys that will continue. Down to 15, but I only have +2. He's going to add up a couple more as he also attacks over on this right side. That double medevac drop might just go ahead and try and catch his base again. Yeah, going to do exactly that. Wouldn't mind's popping off, but not hitting that one beautiful shot. As more SCVs go down to the natural. Clem is trying to get some harassment on the side of the map. Get something going for him as well as he deals with this harassment. He does his own. One base down, another base about to fall. Drone's still alive. Third hatchery falls, weakened earlier from the engagement. Clem, can he hold on to the units? However, no. A little late to the pickup. Mutas might chase down that one medevac as well. Mutas still being a bother in the natural. No mining from there. Mining from the fourth base, however, does seem possible as Clem runs around with 3 different engagements to track. Medevac will go down. This army will pull back. And this army is still chasing down Mutas. And now cracklings. The Juno Glands will finish. Third CC is now in trouble as well. Lots of Ling Baneling coming on in, and Clem is down. A lot of supply, but only 10 army supply. Theoretically, Raynor could still throw this game. If he throws all of his Ling Baneling into a bio army off of creep, Clem could go for one fell swoop to end the game. But there is a reason that I'm kind of I'm painting this more of a Raynor mistake as a Clem miracle. Clem is the one that's going to have to try and find a way to force Raynor into an engagement, you know, across the map, off of creep. It just seems so unlikely. Raynor, also knowing the dangers, I believe, will not be eager to take a final fight. He will continue to harass his opponents until Clem either runs out of resources, an army, or goes for the YOLO and makes a mistake. Either way, Raynor's going to be... He's going to be... I say chicken, I meant kind of more like he's going to peck him to death. Not that he's a coward. And there we go. That's a lot of army to dedicate to the harassment, which should once again get the hatchery, but Raynor has replaced at least one more. He's building 3 hatcheries. Oh, this one. It's right in front of me. Not replacing this one is what I was noticing, and this one might have just died. That's 5 hatcheries killed. I do believe that was a kill, not a cancel. Medevacs, at least some of them will escape, so Clem now neck and neck on the overall supply. It's still possible. It is still technically possible, but Raynor's doing exactly what he needs to do. Pecking at him with the run-bys and the mutas, catching drops when he can, and then maybe catching Clem so torn apart, defending 3 bases with very little infrastructure that he just is able to collapse on him. But Raynor's not... This is not a comfortable position regardless of what it looks like, as Raynor does not have a huge bank in case this fails. The Adrenal Glands are doing an excellent job at taking care of the Marauders that are left on the front line, hoping to tank the Banelings. When the Banelings are controlled and they don't hit the Marauders, the Lings clean them up. They're left alone and surrounded. Muta is continuing to be a bother. Raynor really should have this one in the bag. Clem knows it as well, I believe. Just hoping that Raynor maybe gets impatient. And Raynor is not getting impatient. He has built up at least one more full mining base. This other one just needs the drones to get to it. 78 drones to 17 SCVs. I mean, Clem's able to produce Marines. There you go. He's got Marines going for him. No Thors, no Medevacs. Widow Mines would still be pretty good, but he doesn't have a reactor on the factory. He's still trying to be aggressive, but every time he's aggressive, he risks losing this army. Even if he commits most of his army like this, and so it is scary to take on, he's committing it onto creep, so it's always a little less scary. And if Raynor gets an opportunity to take this army on with creep, like, he'll get it. So here come the Banelings. One of the macro hatcheries will fall. Fungal is available, getting 1 pack of Marines, but not the other one. Medevacs are going to be able to escape, as only 2 mutas are around. The rest of the mutas still trying to destroy, I guess, Clem's main. They're just like, that's their goal now, apparently, destroy the main base. Another Ling pack was, I think, taken care of on the left side around that 3rd hatchery, so Raynor has dipped down a little bit in supply. I mean, he is able to rebuild thanks to these 2 mining bases once again, staying at about 113 army supply. With a couple of fungals to threaten an endgame, Clem has to be very, very, very careful. They could either fungal the Marines as they unload, or they could just straight up fungal the Medevacs, and eventually those mutas will come back. Raynor is also trying to get to those ultras. Chitinous plating not researched. Double, triple checking. They're not researched, but they're still pretty good against Marines, especially if they do get fungaled. Clem does not want to admit that it's over. That's for sure. He's down to 1 command center, by the way, so he's got only 1 scan at a time. I don't think he's going to be bothering to mule. I figure a scan would be better. I figure. I'm not sure. He's actually trying to refill the supply depots. Maybe he is going to mule. This is funny. You know, he's killed in their mining base. His third is never retaken. He's still looking at this as a possible win condition. You know, you will attack me first, and then I'll have a good engagement. Good news, guys. We're back to the 12 worker start. Once chitinous plating is done, I think this actually is over, though. You know, with ultras against mass marine, the power balance is tipped even off of creep. And a fungal, just one fungal here. Yeah. It's been a Rainer favored game for a while. And Clem was really, really hoping that his opponent would make a mistake. And Rainer did not. Alright, tapping out. GG's. Rainer will tie up the series. And we'll head to a game 3. Time to bring up the ghosts. Yeah, maybe. What is a magic box? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, a magic box. So air units in StarCraft, they naturally clump together when you move them, but then they spread apart when you stop moving them. And so the goal with a magic box is basically let them spread apart, and then as they move, they'll stay spread apart, but once they hit the target location, that's when they clump up. So instead of letting them clump up on the target location, you just push, you move them past the Thor, for instance, hold position so they're spread out, then the Thor splash damage isn't as effective. It's like the opposite of the micro that you would do in Brood War. My MGG there. He probably saw ultras, but then I think he's been just waiting for his GG for minutes at that point. He may have gotten fungled on that top attack. I didn't quite catch it, but I did look like his army got surrounded at the very least. So, top left of Winter Madness, it is Clem. Bottom right, it is Rainer. Good old-fashioned Ling, Baneling, Muta versus Bio. Those are the most fun StarCraft 2 games. That's always been the case. But it has existed in Legacy of the Void. This is not a worker thing. I'm telling you. It's not. But I think we've been wanting more Muta games for a while. They've already had some patches to try and accommodate for more Mutas, like the Spire cost change. It was a cost change, wasn't it? It was a build time change. It's build time change. Now we get the Mutas themselves being a little bit better. Back Infestor Broodlord. How about no? Ah, that's what it was. Yeah, it wasn't the cost. It was the Spire builds faster. Maybe they were like thinking of doing a cost and they didn't. Astrality's SCVs, game's over. It's so much more impactful when you missplit your workers. Now you're only on 8. Kind of like Infestors being more relevant. Infestors were always relevant. What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about? Let me introduce you to a man named Dark. But I don't agree that they're more relevant. Why are they more relevant? I think they're as relevant as ever. Does speed mining matter now? You mean like individually microing your worker? Matters as much as it did before. I guess you're asking because he's less workers, so every little bit more matters more, I guess. It's negligible. Another pool first, and maybe the first game was a pool first, and I just missed it. But it seems like it's more and more in demand against Terrans. Reaper is scouted, but this won't be confirmed 1x expand for a little while. He's slow. He's so slow. Fortunately, Clem isn't the type of guy who would usually go for a lot of mix-ups. I mean, talk about one player who you think made everyone believe TVZ was only 3cc. Clem is the one you blame, not the worker start. But that's always been a Clem thing. Beyond has always done different things. Kira was doing very different things. Kira's, I mean, you want to see a variety in TVZ. I just point you to last year's EWC third place match. Kira did a different Terran versus Zerg build every game. I think it was a 5-game series. I mean, it was actually incredible. The amount of strategy that was involved in what Kira did. Unfortunately, it was a third place match that no one cared about. But it was incredible. It's Clem who set the standard, or modern day standard, because you could argue innovation set the 3cc standard or something, but you know, it's history. Clem has certainly settled the modern day standard, which is that he will more often than not go 3cc. He used to go a lot more 3cc 2-on-1s. Now he's doing apparently a lot more 3cc's. 1-1-1, then 3rd-cc, that is, but even he's got to change it up a little bit. What happened to Gumiho? I mean, anytime you're going to ask what happened to someone, it's because they're just not playing anymore. Maybe they show up for a bigger tournament every now and again, like Showtime, I guess, but there's no incentive for them to play. They gotta think about actually getting a real job. Dark is in the military. He's in the military for another six months, I think. Real job, I know. All of esports is just an attempt to make sure that a bunch of 20-year-olds don't have to work real jobs. This is a little concerning, actually. Not gonna lie. This is the extra Reaper from Warnox Expands. A little extra spice. And then the Hellions joining up. Kind of making this hatchery almost die. Ling's forced to be made here, where Raynor was maybe hoping to skip him this time. A Queen goes down as well. No transfuse off of creep, good sir. Well, Ling's actually even trying to get some revenge. They could have got for an SC2 here. Yeah, I guess the Hellion timing was a little sus. It's true. So that's quite unfortunate. They didn't get any SCVs. Killed 2 Hellions, though. Yeah, no dive on a hatchery. You know, it completes. There was a transfuse I think Raynor might have been intentionally holding on to in case he needed it for a live hatchery. So yeah, no dive. Spores are built again. Just since that first game, we gotta do a spore check. When is he out? I think it's like something like 6 months. Sure, someone has a dark military timer. And he's talked at length. He's tweeted multiple times. There you go. He's tweeted multiple times about going back to StarCraft. Another Queen goes down. When a transfuse was available, I'm gonna have to use it on the second one. Yeah, it still goes down anyway. Just a lot of damage and not as solid of a start as Raynor was hoping for. That hatchery might have died, but the threat of the hatchery dying has absolutely thrown Raynor off here. Thankfully, the Hellions are now taken care of, same with the Reapers, but the Banshees still manage to find yet another Queen. 32 Lings and 4 Queens have gone down. For the sake of just Hellions, and instead is 8 Hellions instead of 6. Hate. Whip it. But of course, a Terran would like that exchange, I think, at any time. Anytime. The station pit coming out really quickly. So I mentioned that Serral versus Beyond series, and I'll mention it again as I cannot snooze the ads because Twitch is broken. Yeah, Serral showed that, you know, if everyone's gonna play pretty normal, then you can still get to a very, very fast hive. This is a far less perfect game than what Serral was given, though. So there's that to consider, as Raynor finally finds some SCVs. Well, Dark was, you know, Dark's one of the biggest, I think, innovators in top-tier professional play. Of course, Lambo's always strategizing and big brain. It'll give really clever tactics to the Zerg players and stuff, but I think Dark is the most impressive one, you know, to show off new stuff and get himself out of weird positions in the highest potential games possible. There's a big Ling run by. I mean, you know, I still would say that the Terran will take the trade of Hellions v Ling Queen that we saw. The one big problem is that you do not have Hellions to defend. And the Hellions might have come with this push regardless, but the point is, Raynor has taken advantage of a potential weak point. 14 SCVs have gone down. Clem certainly needs to kill this hatchery. And I think he will, though that's really not a lot. Only a single tank. No upgrades on the Terran, as actually Carapace is going to finish faster. Fungal helping out as well. Queen's targeting the medevac, not quite going to get it. But a very nice handling here from Raynor, who just expedited these infestors. Expedites the hive. Still a 7.5 minute hive. Skipping Banelings, as you might have noticed. This is already a thing. And the 12 workers start. Clem's loss of SEVs is certainly a blow to him, but he has replaced it fairly quickly. Basically, the 16 SEVs that have gone down is he's going into Hellbats with Blue Flame? What? That would have been a 4th CC. Like, legit, right? That would have been a 4th CC. That's more than a 4th CC's cost. So that is still a pretty major blow to Clem's momentum here. And his game is more on a clock than maybe some other ones, with the Hive already done and Ultra's already on the way. I gotta say, Hellbats... Let me give you a little history lesson. Hellbat Bio was already an experiment that Flash, in particular, really liked. It does not work anymore. It was kind of a thing in Heart of the Swarm, and that was pretty legit. Legacy of the Void definitely was occasionally attempted, and it just doesn't work. I'm really shocked to see Clem doing it here in a game that is going into Hive, which I guess he just doesn't know about, but he's, you know, he saw the Infestors. He sees the lack of Banelings. Well, this push is looking awfully scary, so maybe we won't even get there. Raynor still trying to fix up an economy that has been tampered with from the get-go. This hatchery low from an attack earlier on in the game. The Ultras are not out when they need to be. Kindness plating still not done. Clem, never riding on that 4th command center. Didn't add on 3 extra barracks either, but yet still committed to an attack. As Raynor is forced to bring out the Ultras long before their upgrades are done, but big fungals, even a Microbial Shroud, coming down here, because you actually don't need to research it. And looks like the Ultras might have just saved the day, or the Infestors more so. Medivacs pick up what they can, head to the main base. Raynor is down a pace, but Clem also struggling a little bit on the economy. He's losing another 14 SCVs, and as I said, how much are really that impressive? I mean, the reason that it worked was because Raynor was still waiting for his supply to actually pop. It's not because Hellbats are amazing. And they're far less amazing now that these Ultras have chitinous plating and +2 armor. I mean, Hellbats just don't do shit. Widowmines, at least, you know, they don't care about armor. And then tanks, obviously. You know, kind of effective. But Hellbats! Maybe the Hellbats was just really a reaction to it not being Banelings. And in that, I guess I could kind of see a timing. Yeah, which is, you know, the timing that he hit, basically. Since, basically, Hellbats aren't really all that much more helpful against Ling Baneling in particular, because Banelings do splash. So, you know, the kind of cost that people were thinking Hellbats would be able to buy against Banelings if they were included as opposed to Widowmines or tanks, it didn't actually end up being there. That's what we figured out. But if it is pure Ling, then yeah, the Hellbats too, but it's Ultras, so those more so getting to. It's a very cool timing potential with Hellbats, but it did kill a base, and we still got some shenanigans. Oh my god, the Blue Flame, no, the drones! Oh, but Raynor thinks that he's won the game, but these Ultras are awfully low. Microbial Shroud once again trying to keep these little space cows alive. But they're going into a choke. The Hellbats are standing with the Medivacs. The Marauders are killing them. The Banshees in the sky also have nothing to deal with them. And no, Raynor, not like this. Not like this, Raynor. No, Raynor, you've lost your drones. You've lost your 4th. You're losing your 3rd. Oh my god. Oh my god. I think Clem actually wins He's gonna lose SCVs, but he has mules. He still has 3 CC. He has things that are in the air that can't be killed. Oh God, no, not like this. All right, Clem has done it. I didn't have faith in the Hellbats, but look at him go. Look at him. 3-3 also invested into, so that'll eventually hit as Raynor is going to be stuck on 2-2 for quite some time. Spire is done. Even a couple of Corruptors will help, to be fair, but they are so expensive. And Raynor has lost so much economy. He went for the counterattack. And at home, he lost way too much. Yeah, that is it. GG. Clem will advance on, and Raynor will have to try his luck in the lower bracket, which, he's gonna face GG Machine, apparently, in his EVZ best of 1. So, good luck with that. Lambo did 2-1 Classic and is waiting for the winner of this, so it's gonna be Clem versus Lambo. Another TVZ for us on the new patch. Woohoo! You find yourself referencing old instruction manuals for Zerg, 8 pool? Well, the 8 pool was when the 6 workers started, so really you'd be looking to 10 pool. But apparently the early pools kind of suck, so... Because the game fundamentally changed when they changed the worker count, and that has not been compensated for. How do you properly select multiple workers how to build something? Yeah, don't shift click. Box workers, and then just... press B, and then, 5 barracks and 5 SCVs will go and build them. Yeah, the issue is shift clicking. Lambos beat Classic before! Why do they want to nerf and buff? Well, they're not. That's like a third question, that's not even what we're talking about generally with the patch here. But to answer your question specifically, why aren't they adding new units? Adding new units is harder than balancing, than just changing numbers. Because even if they already have a unit created, there's still a lot of things you have to consider for the competition. And I'm not even talking about balance. Like you add a Goliath, how does balance shake out? That's like the last thing you think of, actually. It's more about, like quality testing it. Do they have the correct sounds? Do they have the correct death animations? Do they have the correct skins? Do they interact oddly on certain map textures? Like that kind of thing. That requires more extensive testing. And then obviously if they want to create a whole new unit, then they can't do that without an artist. And Blizzard's not willing to give anyone artists. Too much effort. If one person could do it with a lot of effort, they might consider it, but then it becomes a multi-person issue and they don't have multiple people. Well, they nerfed the number of workers. It's funny to say number of workers is a nerf or a buff, because that's... Nerfs and buffs are pretty much strictly talked about in a sense of strength. Strength for the unit, strength for the race. Nerfing workers for every race might nerf some races and buff others, I guess, but theoretically it should be the same effect to everyone. Oh, I agree. Yeah, banging on. Like if people are like it feels new, it feels different. Of course, a lot of things do, but it's not going to be as permanent of a new feeling as a lot of other things it could do. Because I firmly believe that everything will just settle as it did when they went from 6 workers to 12. Like, to be clear, there were a lot of people who were pretty smart, who were incredibly worried that the 12 workers start would minimize strategy. That it would minimize strategy and get rid of cheese. Then, you had people counter with, no, it'll make cheese stronger. Sound familiar? Then you had the game actually come out, and guess what? Fucking full of cheeses that eventually got figured out and or nerfed. It's the same. It was the same fucking thing as the new expansion for 6 workers. But a new unit would theoretically, you know, any time, even a year into a new unit, a new person would come in here and be like, oh yeah, it's, you know, it's a new unit I get to play with. That's exciting. Because also, just at the end of the day, I already kind of went on this rant before, but just like, I know there's already some cases of players returning. Is okay. I gotta do this quickly. Bottom left, Clem. Top right, Lambo. But I think it's just it's again like this false advertising where like I feel like the people who are hearing this are like, it's gonna change so much, and it really doesn't. But it's also just, you know, if you really were trying to appeal to someone, let's say I didn't play StarCraft 2, so if you tell them there's the different workers and they're like, it's just like Wings of Liberty, they don't even know what Wings of Liberty is, and that's a total falsehood anyway. But like, how do you excite people with worker changes? You know, they're like, brother, this is a great game. Guess what? There was a new patch. And they're like, okay, cool. Like, what's the new patch? Like a new race? You know, like, is there a new unit that I would really, like, love? Because I play, like, Annie or something, you know, in League of Legends. I don't fucking know. And you're like, no, check this out. The worker count. Like, most people are going to be like, what the fuck does that matter? Like, it's exciting to a very small population. And I think it's totally deceiving to that small population anyway. Anyway, we got ourselves a proxy single barracks. So, Clem is not going to be bringing back the 2-3 racks, which I've never seen lose. Just a proxy Reaper, which is still very important. Because certainly right now, as better players than me test out the PTR, what we're actually finding are some serious problems. You know, I'm kind of sitting here being like, this is going to get figured out. This isn't going to be the worst thing ever. I just think it's totally unnecessary in case it is the worst thing ever. And, well, what they're figuring out is that one of the worst things about this patch is that early Reaper shenanigans, or even regularly timed Reaper shenanigans, they hurt the Zerg. It hurts the Zerg. They go, ooch, ouchies, I don't like it. And so, taking advantage of that might be #1 goal for Terrans in the future. Always forcing the Zerg to go for a pool first, which Lambo did not, but Raynor was doing in the previous games. So this hurts the Zerg. Ouch, Uchi, my bones. To be fair, you know, Proxy Reaper had a chance to do this much damage, I suppose, but it would be less time playing the drone micro game in the previous patch. 2 drones and a third having to build and cancel. Not too bad. It's not done yet though. That queen still not out. I said cancel, but it's actually I think legitimate spine crawler. He sees a bunker building. This could get out of hand. And that is 100 minerals to the spine and 50 for a drone that isn't mining on an earlier economy, right? Less workers. Supposed to be more damage to the economy when you have to sacrifice one. So that hurts. That really hurts the Zerg. Here's 1,000 changes where we need to make 8 workers start, not suck. Yeah, and, you know, as I think Larimbo kind of said it, maybe someone else when I was talking about this, it's like, why? Like, we're gonna do 1,000 things. We're not gonna do 1,000 things. First of all, the intern is not gonna be paying that close attention to StarCraft. Did this actually end the game? God, I don't know. Little SCV micro, little transfuse. That's very important. That spine was about to go down. Now we have Lings, Queens, and a spine. The Reaper's gonna have to skedaddle, barely escaping with 3 of them. Only 1 went down. That's still enough to be truly obnoxious, and Lambo did take a lot of damage for all of this. Clem did go for a factory before going for the command center, so it's quite late. But it's something you have to do in case they maybe were grabbing research, speed research. And you don't, you know, if you're counterattacked with even just, let's say, 10 Lings and all you have is Reapers, you're not getting a low ground command center. Not only that, like the Hellions could be a defensive, like just in cases. That's a lot of times it would have been. It's also going to help out on the offense, clearly. Lambo still is not going to have speed. The Hellions could race across the map as the Queens are distracted in the main, which might have been Clem's goal, but the Reapers are getting corralled. And that is pretty important, I would say, because I think that would be exactly the plan otherwise. Is the Hellions just race across and kill every drone in the natural, which aren't that many. So pretty important timing right there. The Reapers were cleaned up. Because they're slow lings. They're slow lings. They go across the map. Would have taken them forever. The Hellions would have been out because he sees that there's a factory. Maybe they kill the SCV, but they don't actually stop the command center. And then they're not there to help corral the Reapers. The Queens alone get, they get bounced and whatever. He wouldn't have. I'm telling you, as someone who's watched a lot of StarCraft, though not on 8 workers, and you're like, fuck you, you're a caster, you don't know what you're talking about. Fine. Lambo's telling you. Would not have been worth it. Because Lambo literally sees everything. How long will people change rants about the worker change? It is what it is. It's a test. This is literally when people should be complaining at the maximum amount. What are you on about? This should be when we're all like, this really fucking sucks. You cannot do this. So that maybe the amount of people crying out in the world will actually affect the Jedi that is the intern, and he'll go, I feel a massive disturbance in the Force, and he won't go through with it. Hey. I mean, pro gamers do make mistakes, but I'm telling you, it would not have been worth it. This is like, my whole thing was about how you go for a factory before a command center so that you are safe against someone who might try and go for a counterattack. I'm telling you. But you are free to get this game file somehow and play Recover from Replay with a friend of yours. And then you show me that cast, you show me that replay, and it delays the command center by a significant amount. And I'll be like, shit. You got me. No, one ling would not have done it, and I'm done responding to you now. 2-base Muta. 2-base Muta is a thing. Yes, Lambo is gonna go into 2-base Muta. +1 flyer attacks. True emphasis here. Plenty of people like it, so what? Plenty of people don't like it. So what about your fucking point? What is the conversations I'm having with chat right now? Is rage bait. They're both rage baiting me. They're both red. They're in on it together. Goddamn. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like, I'm done. Third hatches here. Banshees obviously have been floating around trying to deal significant damage. What they've done more so is just do a decent amount of scouting. So even though he hasn't technically seen the Spire, Clem should be putting 2 and 2 together. With a 2-base emphasis, the gases, the Baneling Nest, no evolution chambers. It's mutas. Clem doesn't necessarily have to go for missile turrets right off the bat, but he will once... I feel like around now would be... Oh, there you go. Exactly. He knows what's up. Because he's faced 2-base Muta. 2-base Muta has been a build, even on the 12-worker start. It comes and goes. Last time it came and went. Apparently it kind of has come back, but on the 8 workers, certainly people are trying to experiment with it, not just because of the workers and resource change, but also because Mutas are directly buffed in the patch. And I'm all for more Muta play. But anyway. More Mutas is gooder. Unless they become too strong. And then there was a pretty bad time in Heart of the Swarm when Mutas were too strong. And that wasn't that fun. But before Swarm Host took over the narrative, there was a lot of mass Muta late games where you just had to pray for What of Mine's killed them all. Third CC is done. So Clem is not all-inning here. His turrets are going to protect him against the initial wave of Mutas, although 12 with +1 already. We'll take it down pretty quickly. But the move out has to be considered. This game has not gone smoothly for either player, really, right? Clem did have to proxy to do the damage that he did. And Lambo is not just attacking with the Mutas, though. That's going to add a little spice. It's something that Clem was not expecting. Fantastic use of the SCPs. It's so good. Oh, the tank will live. The tank lives! The Marines live! That was not at all what was supposed to happen. Lambo risked it for the biscuit. And instead, he's the one that loses out drastically. He loses 11 drones, third hatch, all the lings that were used right there. Oh, that was good. That was a good defense. Goddamn. A couple of Liberators help out. Which, to be fair, I mean, that's definitely one thing that'll never happen. Never happen in Heart of the Swarm. You couldn't get 4 Liberators and take care of mutas. But that is now an option, technically. We're off of creep, so unless we're going to get a surround, there's that micro going down too. Yeah, you're not going to take on those Marines, which, by the way, have their +1 done while Lambo's still working on the Carapace. You get pretty late upgrades with the 2 base mutas. Clem actually didn't add on, double engineering bay. He did react to the 2 bay situation and didn't just blindly go, 3 CC. Double engineering bay, especially after the opener that he chose. So it's not like he's super far ahead in the upgrades, but he is ahead. So 3rd CC saturates. We got ourselves with the Terran 9 workers above his opponents. Good. That's not good. Because the Terran is also happily muling. Tank will finally go down, but damn, was it a hero. The Liberators I was pointing out, when you have 4 of them, that's when you can really start to try and corral the mutas. The mutas could take on the Liberators by their lonesome. That is, say that when Liberators are alone, you can magic box on them as well. But if they're going to be accompanied by any amount of Marines, any reinforcements, if they're being controlled so they run back to a missile turret, you won't be able to kill them. So this is certainly a new way of dealing with mutas. And if you think they really are going to emphasize mutas, that they're not going to do a tech swap fairly quickly, and in this game I just don't think that's at all possible for Lambo, then investing into 4 Liberators pretty fast makes a lot of sense. The arc slop is the angle of which mutas can still attack, so they made it better. So a muta is kind of, they kind of turn when you start to micro them really intensely. They turn, attack, turn, attack. Now they can attack even as they turn a little bit more. So they don't have to turn back as much to attack. Makes it more microable. Clem is in a very, very, very good situation. The supplies might be close, but it is very deceiving. Merrick, that's not the brag you think it is. There's gonna be so many people that have been playing and watching StarCraft for 16 years. Is he using the changeling bug to his advantage, is he? Might have tried. I didn't actually check. Only 16? I didn't play the beta. Excuse me. But there's gonna be people who have been playing for 17. They were in the beta. Yeah, the game's gonna narrow back. It's 100% gonna narrow back to the same game. Which isn't that narrow to begin with, but I already went over that. You have a decent amount of banelings left over as the tanks are all gone, but there's so much bio behind this. And the Liberators are filling the role of the Thor, so we no longer have a... Oh, bird banelings! I did not see that at all, and I was looking right at it. They kind of blend in with the terrain. You don't really want to be making Corruptors against this. Corruptors are very expensive. But I will admit the Liberators could be a problem. They are not. The mutas do end up taking them out. So eventually, Liberators have pretty poor acceleration and range. So you do have to baby them. And that certainly what makes a Thor easier to include. I still think Lambo's in a lot of trouble. He's only on 65 drones, although 18 of them are just about to pop out, so he's fixing that. Burrowed banelings are continuing to find at least efficient trades as well. Lambo is making me a believer. But he is a baneling, muta, Zerg on just 5 bases with super limited creep spread, which makes the burrowed banelings better, to be fair, against a 4-base Terran who's getting closer and closer to 3-3. even if the Terran player isn't getting the easiest game of their life here, considering that Clem did kill a third hatch early on, you are still looking towards your kind of biggest power spike, which is going to be a 3-3 push. And you're not disadvantaged in any other way. You're not skipping a base for it. You're not skipping technology. I don't know what else you would do. Like, you're in a pretty freaking good position. Lambo is the one that's still going to have to play a lot of catch-up. So he is continuing to build more drones, getting another base. I think he might be very intentionally not spreading creep, but that is going to become more of an issue if, for instance, mutas do fade out of this game, as he maybe moves on to infestors and ultras, for instance. Right now, they are not fading out at all. 23 of them with just that +1, but they got Carapace as well. 1-1. They are going after the command center, I would believe. Yeah, the Banelings are taken care of, however, and that's very dangerous to stay there. The scan also making sure there's no burrowed Banelings. Clem has a lot of command centers to scan. He does not have to mule at this point. 66 workers is totally fine. And he's getting a lot of missile turrets. He might even invest into building armor. Once his 3-3 is done, they'll make missile turrets way better. They'll get building armor and the range. Now, Lambo is moving on to ultras, maybe. No, he's just getting into a lot of upgrades. Still no ultras on the field. That will slow the game down. That will stop him from continuing on with this momentum. But at a point, this army gets worse and worse. What am I not going to get connection? But Thor is getting plenty of them. So many mutas in the red. And way too much of a wall here. Clem holds on multiple locations. You know, his army is split, anticipating a lot of aggression from Lambo. He did scan and he saw the hive was being made. But that's not guaranteeing, like I said, that it's going to go into ultras. You really got to see the ultras, and there it is. So that will slow the game down. Lambo's going to have to build up a bank to build into a decent amount of ultras. He's going to have to choose the next engagement with his maxed out army very carefully. If it goes poorly, because he needs to exchange supply. But if it goes poorly, Clem is going to take that as a green light to run across the map, which is getting increasingly, his expansions, his point of attack, is getting increasingly closer to Lambo. So instead of having to defend in your natural and then go all the way across to the third to attack, now you're defending here and going here. Easy peasy. She's even threatening to do with some drops. And that's where creep spread is also going to be. That it's cool to see the burrowed Banelings, but you absolutely will need creep spread connecting your bases to respond to drops as quick as possible, to potentially see them coming as well would be nice. Clem is ready to play a super late game TVZ as 4 more command centers come down, extra starport, fusion core as well. I mean, adding on liberators and not for the mutas is totally valid. In fact, very necessary. He's already added on a couple of ghosts, and we'll be adding more as the supplies kind of naturally trade out. Lambo now has some infestors, but they are not going to be able to do very much here. Clem moving a good portion of his army forward. Chances are they're going to take a very efficient fight, even if Lambo tries to collapse in with all of his armies. Actually tries to come in for a bit of a surround, but that just, the rest of Clem's army is ready to take that on. And there's that little bit of a green light, says, yeah, you can definitely take that base. Lambo not remaxing on ultras, which is less and less of a threat as time goes by, because more and more ghosts get added, more liberators, more tanks. Forced to just reinforce whoever's going to come in quickest, which is Ling Baneling. And Clem not only killing a base, but also going to take this base for his own. Kind of do a little bit of a death push here. Rally in these units. Liberators will be a bother to take care of. Mutas can try and go after him, but you got 2 Thors. You even got ghosts that could very realistically snipe mutas. Like, that is not a bad use of ghost snipe. A little bit maybe worse nowadays. Microbial Shroud, I don't know, I'm always amused. It's like it could help. But is it? I don't know. Ultra is also waiting to get their speed, but I still don't think we're going to see Ultras. A bank is certainly there for, hey, surprise, 5 Ultras. I'm sure Clem's just waiting to see one of these eggs pop with the big old space cow. Thor's on the front line. Should maybe be microed back. Is the rest of the army not quite ready to help them out. Tanks need to get those extra shots. Gonna get the last few ones, but still taking a pretty cost-efficient engagement. A lot of ghosts left over, though. As all of those go down with a Medivacs that will no longer be in Clem's favor, as he does lose about half of them. Clem dips down drastically in supply. Lambo does remax, or try to anyway, but he is actually larva blocked. As I try to press the U button, 16 larva still available, still waiting on how he's going to use it. Unfortunately, it was so little left over. Lambo's attempt to find more than just the army is met with failure. Planetary missile turrets, reinforcements all ready to go. And Lambo, like I said, didn't actually remax. He had the larva, he had the resources, but he wanted to get something better than just a pure Ling Bailing Muta. He does on those corruptors that you do need as Liberators become more and more of the issue, the slow push. And all the mutas are now gone, so Clem really doesn't have to worry about his run-bys anymore. He did get the building armor, so yeah, that helped. And you know what? That could get some mining done. I could get some mining done. I believe in it. I think Clem's going to be really focused on continuing to abuse his advanced position here to push into the fresher bases of Lambo here. And he might just miss out on scouting the base right next to his. I'm not sure there's ever been a popular patch. I mean, I had a positive reaction to the Storm patch last year. I kind of liked it, and then I really liked the follow-up patch. I felt like it addressed a lot of the community's concerns. So much so that I wasn't even really mindful that they pushed a patch through without testing. Like, they showed a second patch, and I was like, cool. And then they just pushed it to live. There was hardly any more testing beyond that. I didn't mind it, because I thought it was pretty good direction anyway. This one, obviously, it's not positive. Command Center wasn't really doing a whole lot, and now it's caught, probably gonna die. Nice little Shark Fester trying to grab those the ghosts that were very far forward. A couple of them do go down, but this is quite the line in the sand to push past. Yeah, you're not doing that anytime soon. I really hope Lambo transfers drones. Yes. He's doing it. He's doing it. It was pretty nice, actually, a Reddit thread that I thought was just a nice conversation, you know, completely viable question. Just like, everyone talks about balance all the time, you know, has StarCraft ever been balanced? And I feel like mostly reasonable people came in. Fungals are grabbing some units. A lot of ghosts still able to escape. Liberator's still up, Tank's still up, little SimCity to push past as well. Lambo's Overseer dies, so he's little supply blocked. Thankfully, he is losing units. So, no longer supply blocked. And oh no! He did actually check. Damn it. Damn it. You're right, he scanned it. He wanted to take this base, which really should be his. And it should be a bit of a freebie of his. So he scanned, certainly looking for just maybe a Ling, and well, there's a whole ass base, wasn't there? It'll get difficult for Clem to defend both top left and bottom right. But what's difficult for the Zerg in this regard is that even as they try and do a little razzle-dazzle, attack to the right, attack to the left, the gut punch up the middle could kill them. You know, Clem could technically sacrifice these two bases in an extreme scenario and just say, yeah, whatever, kill it, and I'm just going to gut punch you, and you're not going to have a good enough army. I am quite surprised this game has gone so late and looks even. Like, we look at an almost proper TVZ. The Terran is still in the lead. For sure. But, you know, there's potential. 24 minutes in. Because Lambo's third died. His counterattack utterly failed. But this is the Terrans. This is home. Or on one of the smaller maps, I want to say, too. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of space. Tons of bases. We're not on an Ultrazeme, are we? Just gonna favor the Terran as the game goes on. Almost got the tank. And frankly, in all of the late game TVZs that I've seen, I do believe the trend is Terran wins them. Like, super, super late game. The latest game you can get to. Love the microbial shroud usage, man. I don't think it's truly affected the battles severely so far today, but just in case it does. Ghosts are a lot better. They now have better flat damage against everything, which was a choice. Oh no, oh god, all the ghosts are there. I was like, hey, nothing's here. No, all the ghosts are here. Generally, the ghosts need something to deal with the banelings. Well, the planetary and the tanks are dealing with them. The ultra's supposed to sit behind. Wait, they all die? Sorry, they all disappeared in the blink of an eye. Forced to die. And so Ling Baneling hopes to deal more. And killing 2 command centers, was it? Planetary and one of these, I believe. You know, is... Yeah, that's not important, actually. It's something, but it's not really all that important, especially as Lambo gives away a ton of gas for what is mostly minerals. This base was actually retaken. Lambo willing to do a little fight over this one. No Overseer, but they're coming. That's okay. Just evacuate. Corruptors would be very careful with trying to over-engage. That's when they get sniped. At this hatch, Lambo is intent on mining it as much as possible. I don't know if it'll become the last stand of the Zerg, but he's going to try and get everything he can before he's forced to give it up. And Lambo's bank, by the way, is gone. It was 4,000 to 1,000. Not anymore, is it? I'm with a pretty ideal composition. Taking a lot of defensive fights. Banelings are trying to make those connections with the ghosts. It's going to have to last-second split as most of the tanks have been taken care of, but there you go. There's the... Not even a split. The Concave did it. The Banelings can't roll fast enough. Now that Corruptor is forced to flee. Crackling top of an SCV line protected by a Planetary. Did do some economic damage. Clem has how many command centers? 3 Planetaries, 7 orbitals. Another command center did fall, so 1 extra command center. It's a lot. He's got a lot. And Lambo no longer has a lot of bank. In fact, none at all. And he doesn't have a lot of bases that even if he could magically take the bases that he, you know, this one and this one, that's not enough for a Zerg player. That's not enough. Resource trades, you can see 14,000, 15, it's more and more. We got drones being killed in the gutter, which is, I'd say, pretty typical. Once it kind of breaks the 10k point, that's when you're really concerned for the Zerg, though. So if they have 3 or 4 extra bases mining and there's still 2 or 3 extra bases to fight over, it's playable, it's winnable, but that was a almost 28-minute game that I think was basically determined around that 3rd hatch snipe. Lambo did a hell of a job surviving. Burrowed Banelings, Mutaplay, run-bys. Like Clem, you could have maybe played it more aggressively, maybe. Probably still done fine. Or he could have done exactly what he did and just slow roll it, and he has the advantage. New ghosts are worse at pushing and better at camping. You don't like camping? You don't like turtling? You don't like it? What? Everyone loves it. That should be the ideal. More turtling. I'm gonna play an ad right now, so we can hopefully have less during the game. Whoops, and the lobby had to be remade anyway. Damn it, TKL. Still in the old one. Economy nerd, StarCraft stuff. A little less nerdy. I don't know what my YouTube title was, but it's less nerdy today. TKL actually get it? Ah, they left TKL! Oh! Yeah, they left TKL. Good guy, Clem. I think TKL just AFK'd. He's still in the old lobby. Getting out of the Sal chat channel in StarCraft 2. I'm getting out of the Sal chat. Gah! Sal's chat's becoming more and more the toxic StarCraft 2 chat. There's always got to be one. I was really surprised to see them just overall buff the ghost base damage. I didn't give strong opinions on any other patch changes other than the gateway and the workers. But even though, you know, we definitely had people be like, you know, it was kind of split even amongst the pros. Like, it was split. Some were adamant that it was worse. Some were adamant that it was better. I think we're kind of leaning better now. But anyway, I thought that was a very surprising change. Base damage of the ghost increasing just seems like it was the exact thing like the community would not want. Even if there were other nerfs to it. Okie dokie then. We got ourselves game 2. And oh, good guy pull me. In the top, whoop, might not have been him. Up, up. Oh, we're doing the thing. Who is it? It was Braddock. Oh. Homie didn't have to leave. Top left it is Lambo, bottom right it is Clem. Good guy observers. I was gonna wait to the very last to actually leave. I was not gonna be a good guy. But we got Clem going for a proxy Reaper, and like I said last time, if the Zerg isn't going to pull first, apparently, in this patch, then you should be abusing the amount of time Reapers get to abuse the Zerg. Now, what was interesting is that that game ended up going for about 28 minutes, right? So, definitely going to give him that credit. It seemed very, very strong. And the follow-up seemed as strong as expected, too. But then it went on for quite some time. I don't know. Lambo... Maybe you just got to give credit to Lambo for that one. But apparently Lambo does not believe that he's going to need to pull first for fear of the Reaper. But it's you know, I'm not here playing the games on the PTR, and even if I did, I'm not nearly as good as these guys. So to me, there's always a bit of uselessness when it comes to my gameplay. You know, like, why would I bring up my gameplay when it comes to discussing the pros? But I'll listen to what people are talking about, what they've seen 5K, 6K players, professional games. And it does seem to be the talk of the proxy Reaper versus the pull first. Lambo refuses to bend the knee to the Reaper. I need to send the first Overlord because the time of which would be lost on your first Overlord actually getting over here to scout what they're doing in case it wasn't a proxy is pretty bad. But that said, it would not be unheard of. Nice cancel. Oh, well, he might actually keep it. That said, it has been the case in the past, if you know, if there's like a 90% certainty that the person is going to proxy rax you, to send your first 2 Overlords in either proxy rax direction. That's definitely been a thing. In this case, even if he scouts it with his first Overlord, I'm not sure how well that gels with the builds to just, you know, get a pull first as a reaction, even that fast scouted. I'm not sure. Supercharge Overlord, but just for the first 4 minutes. Like I said, Spine, yeah, is going to be finished, so the bunker doesn't stay as a refuge. But yeah, you had to build a Spine. You had to sacrifice a drone. This is why I think Clem will always be validated in going for the Reapers. Overlord's going to see, hey, he went for a factory again, so... Unlikely my Lings will get across the map and do anything. And in this case, the Reapers would be eyeing the Lings the entire time and killing them. That Spine Crow is in a little bit of danger. Okay, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. The Lings and Queens trying to protect them. And that one Queen also in a bit of danger. They both are about to have a transfuse. 4 Reapers will continue to be a bother. If they ever kill most of the Lings, then they'll have to remake the Lings. It's, yeah, this lack of speed for an extended period of time. Why doesn't he get speed? Well, that is a lot of money. That's another drone sacrificed earlier on in the economy. And 3 drones to mine from it, you know? Kind of do a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. The Spine got a transfuse in it, so it's not going to go down anytime soon. Still harassing the Lings. Little high ground barracks, little floaty barracks. Nice to see that back. Welcome back, buddy. And it looks like Clem sees... I don't know how long he saw there was a lack of gas, but he could have clicked on it as soon as he saw it was, and there would be not a lot of gas taken, right? So he knows that speed is not on the way. It's not even being researched. So instead of going into Hellions, which would very much be a requirement, if you're up against Speedlings, he's going to go into Cyclones. And that is just such a dirty, nasty thing he is doing. It's mean. Clem is being a bully. This little, like, 23 French boy is being a bully. Germany paid for its sins. France. God. Oh, this is a very, very good follow-up. Very good follow-up. Lambo's in more trouble, I would say, than he was last game. Yeah, that will go down. Cyclone not going to be micro. He's microing the Reapers. Second Cyclone could come in here and help out. Reapers with a focus. 2 Reapers will die, but lots of Lings died as well. If you don't replace him, you got further defenses, but you can't replace him because you need the drones. Oh, God. Oh, God, the Queens. This is troublesome. Funnily enough, a barracks has not been replaced yet, so if we want more factories, we can't build them, but I assume he's going to go into barracks. He is playing with a little bit of fire. That speed... Yeah, you know, but then Lambo would have to basically all in. He's on such a low drone count to just suddenly... To try and hit a Ling timing at this point, because you see that the reactor is really late. That wouldn't work out. 3 Cyclones, you know, kind of in a hole here, mass repaired. Speedlings wouldn't be able to do the trick. So maybe he'll make 4 Hellions, just because he'll continue to have map control. But I don't think he's scared. Another Spine was needed. That's so expensive, though. I don't know. Oh, there you go. Here it is. Here it is. I pointed to here. Here's also good. I mean, like I said, I don't think Clem was truly afraid. I did need to respect that. We lost 5 Queens, 37 Lings, 2 Overlords, and that Spine. That's a big number difference, guys. No, of course, yeah. You strictly look at that and you're like, of course he should have made a Spine. But do keep in mind, that's pretty early on that he would have built the Spine. It still would not have helped him against the Cyclone follow-up either. Maybe that's not strictly true. I don't know. And then what if you get a second Spine and then the Terran's like, okay, fair enough. You still... The Terran's still pretty happy with forcing a second Spine, so... Again, I think that's why I said it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's been that situation for so long for Lambo As that another Overlord goes down, and it's something he can't really afford. He's down 5 workers. At most, he's been ahead by, I think, 5 workers in this game. And accounting for the Mule, that's not enough. Little Cyclone Hellion push. He actually made 6 Hellions, so a little more than just the map control and actual threatening amount. As the Banshees are being taken care of. Ling's getting enough of a wraparound that this is not going to end the game by the looks of things. No, but it just did so much damage. Once again, all the queens will die, and you know what? It's still not going to end the game. 9 meters are on the way, but you know what? That was nasty. That was nasty. Lings are dead. Queens are dead. Hatchery might be dead. We do need some anti-air, but good news. We're getting to it. 5 barracks almost done. Missile turrets obviously could come out. Clem has not scouted the main. With how much damage he's done, it's kind of hard to tell that this was going to be Mutas. Could have just been a very injured Zerg. So he's a little late to responding to that, but not late enough. You know, there you have it. Missile turrets are on the way. His follow-up should win the game. No Banelings, no Queens. Baneliness is done. How many Banelings can he get? Should feel a little bad for Lambo. I really thought that Cyclone follow-up was nasty. No stim, funnily enough. No stim. This is the exact wrong time. Funnily enough. This is the only time that Lambo will have a power spike in this game, and Clem inadvertently ran right into it. No stim, not all of his army together, gonna lose another medevac. SCPs are gonna be forced to be pulled. I think he's good now. I don't know, no combat shields though. Thor, no, that's a tank? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wait, no. But no, there's a missile turret to fall back to. There's a wall. There are 5 barracks producing. This isn't over. But this may... This looks so scary. This, swear to God, this is the only time Lambo will ever look scary in this game. Lambo's probably smacking himself for pushing out, but all he's gotta do is play around the missile turrets for a little while longer. Eventually, combat shields will finish 1-1 as well. Even the Vikings are obviously desperate. Combat shields will not finish. The Vikings are desperate. The Vikings are actually very good. Vikings range, hover around the missile turrets. Again, that's going to be enough as the 2 tanks are taken down. Oh, Banelings are coming in! Lambo sees the opportunity! He's like, I can do it! I can win right here, right now! The Vikings need to go back to the missile turret. The Wood of Mine is destroyed before it pops off. The Banelings, they're coming! They're coming! The SCV block is amazing! It's amazing! Only 2 Banelings are left over, and the Marines are still alive. No combat shields, but they got 1-1. It is 14 going on 17 Mutas, however, against 15 Marines, and it's scary. Lambo, love it. He's making every pretty poor game, because last game was not pretty either, look winnable. The scan reveals basically no drones at the 3rd. Clem's little heart attack. Probably thinking, oh my god, did I actually throw this game? That's insane. I think it's over now. He's got this under control. He even finds 2, maybe 3. No, he stopped again! 4 Mutas, god. Yeah. I don't think Clem can throw this again. These Marines are in the middle of nowhere. Lings are not going to get us around. These are still slow Banelings. We got enough medevacs to heal each individual Marine, a Wood of Mine, and a tank this time around as all the Banelings get shot at. Huge chunks of them going down to the tank shots. The Marines are forced to temporarily disengage, but very temporarily. GG's. Clem will win game 2 as well. He splits 5 links to the natural as he's running to the main with Banes. He obviously would have done a lot more damage. He would have killed probably 15 workers. Remember, they would have been +1 armor CVs against 0-0 links. But I actually don't think that would have been enough. Like, as long as Clem could stabilize, almost no amount of damage was gonna do enough. As long as his barracks could eventually produce enough Marines to take on mutas. And even if he has 0 SCVs, he has mules. So, I'm not saying it's impossible. But it was definitely more important for Lambo to camp the production. Or try and camp the production. Than try and kill even an entire worker line wouldn't have been enough. Like, it looked like such a close game. But he was so far behind. That was the only power spike he was ever going to have. And Clem just inadvertently ran the small army. If he had waited 30 seconds longer, that would have never gone that way. Thanks, Grimk. So obviously Clem advances. Oh, and I totally missed the start of Lambo versus Raynor. Well. It is a best of 3, so I guess I'll get into the next game. But I'll just watch. I'll watch on Roddy's stream. Is it my fault that they started the lower bracket final in literally like 10 seconds from that game? Jesus. And I'm not as important as TKL. So obviously they won't stop. They won't remake for me. Alternatively, you know, Clem's not in it, and Clem's the nicest boy. So that's also another reason. Yeah, I mean, they didn't even look like they vetoed. They just agreed to plan them out. Mr. Jazz, thank you for the $10.
Loving having you back in the SC3 scene.
Ah, it's the thing like SC3. Ah! Thank you, Mr. Jazz. I mean, the good news is EVCs seem to go fast in the patch, so hopefully that's another one that'll go fast. But yeah. If you guys go to another stream, I'll understand. One that has sound effects. They literally made the game as I checked what that meant for the bracket. Lambo's alt tab was Swift. All the cute little kittens are being adopted from the rescue I volunteer at. Of course they, well, it's a pool first versus a hatch first, but let's listen to Roddy's cast. Let's break the TOS. I'm gonna BRB. That was Tim Morton's favorite expression, by the way. Which is funny, actually. Because it was actually very likely that if Stormgate was at all successful, it would have replaced StarCraft 2 at EWC. Hey! Didn't even get time to eat my Pop-Tart. Which, by the way, Pop-Tarts have become insanely sad. Now, some of y'all elitist Europeans might be like, Pop-Tarts have always been the devil. Or maybe you don't even know what Pop-Tarts are, actually. But, love Pop-Tarts. They used to be covered in frosting, and now the frosting is kind of sad. And they used to be like an inch thick. Like they used to be thick, you know, with the filling in it. And now it's so incredibly thin. Pop-Tart. It is a very fast food popover. There's like an equivalent dessert that I can't think of right now. I didn't actually see who won. Whoops-a-daisy. No, it's not similar to a cookie. It's pastry. It's a pastry dough, and with jam inside. Lambo won. Okay. All right, so top left, we got ourselves Raynor. Bottom right, Lambo, and as I said, thankfully ZVZ is a pretty fast matchup in the PTR. It seems like the trend. You know, obviously people were experimenting with early pools all the time as soon as the patch released, so that's been a thing. I feel like what I've heard is that early pools are sucky. They should not be a thing. They looked really good initially because people were just experimenting. But once people kind of realize, I think if you get early pooled and you're going for hatch first, I think canceling ad puts you ahead, something like that. Exactly. Just the last game lasted as long as an ad break. So yeah, so apparently that's a thing. I'm not sure, that means like any early pool sucks or just the 8 pool, I don't know. But aside from that, then what seemed to be more often happening in DVZs was 2-base. And I don't know if I really even want to try to wrap my head around why that would become more of a thing with the new patch. But yeah. 2-base, you wall with the Roach Warren. You could go legitimately into Roaches. You could do some of the fake out Roach plays. I'm sure all of those are still viable. The actual 2-base Roach push, the mutas on 2-bases behind the wall, I'm going for Roaches just K. It's actually mass Ling, mass speed Ling. All those things I'm guessing still exist behind the 2-base. But for whatever reason, it seems that we have more 2-bases. Someone else can try and describe to me why that is. I feel like Lambo would get onto the ZVZ meta the fastest. It's not that it guarantees him victory here, but it wouldn't surprise me if he understands it better. I think Raider played a bit of PTR. I think because this was announced like 9 days ago even. I don't know, it wasn't even announced, I think Monday. It was announced like the Friday of after the patch or something. I think there has been enough appeal about the $1,000 prize pool that some players at least had a timer on, They don't want to play patch. They want to play League of Legends. They'll try out the patch Sunday night, That type of thing. $1,000 on the line also meant, like I said earlier, that trying to get the sorry. I think it goes down to 6th place for prize pool being doled out. Overlord killed. And unfortunately for Raynor, he won't get the same Overlord killed. Ling Baneling is on the way for Lambo on to bases, and he's producing Lings, so this is going to be a lot of aggression coming out. Raynor's speed is later. I mean, the builds... I mean, Lambo just went hatch pool, right? I didn't quite catch when the gas was put down. Raynor was a lot more cautious. I didn't really see what happened in the first game. It's over in the blink of an eye. Oh, he lost the Overlord in the last game as well. That makes sense. Even if he had played the PTR, it's such a change that yeah, there's going to be a lot of dumb mistakes. Like Raynor also tapped out as soon as one Banshee showed up in TVZ. Ling Baneling on the way off of 2 bases. Don't see this too often, to be fair, in the modern TVZ. But it is going to work a hell of a lot here. I don't know what... Raynor does nothing. Yeah, Raynor just taps out is what he does. GG. ZVZ. Lickety split. Get this matchup out of here. We have 2 Zergs in the Monday Night Weekly. That is preposterous. Get the fuck out. By the way, this means that it is going to be Clem versus Lambo in the grand finals. It also means that we didn't see Max Packs or Classic in the grand finals. Or beyond. All of them getting knocked out early. No Protoss, yeah. Max Pack's not quite able to do it. Good lord. Why are the lobbies so fast? Oh, didn't do this last time. Oh, they'll notice Roddy isn't in the lobby, but not me. The healthiest of American lunches, by the way. Coca-Cola and a Pop-Tart. That was weird. They talked about waiting for Roddy, and then I'm pretty sure they didn't wait for Roddy. Coffee and a cigarette is the French lunch. That's what Clem had. Unless his name is Seven. Maybe he's Seven. That's probably what it is. Oh, deadlock nerd. Alright. Top right, it is Lambo. Bottom left, it is Clem. And Clem's gonna do it again. He's gonna do it again. Lambo has to pull first, right? How fast is that 2-0 Lambo Raynor? I think it was actually 5 minutes between the two games. 6 minutes between, you know, both lobbies. they were very fast. He has to pull first, right? Isn't a thing actually that some other people brought up that we can talk about while waiting to see how much damage this Reaper does? You know, Drogo came in is the one who kind of banged on about it a little bit, which is that, you know, the other thing that people don't remember about Heart of the Swarm Wings Liberty is actually there were a lot more one-sided games. And some people might recognize that or hear that and be like, oh, that's better because that means there's more like build order wins and losses, and that's actually more fun because that's the strategic diversity that we want. And, no. It was just like watching, you know, a 4-gate Blink Stalker game happen 5 times in a row. And it was just more decisive than it was. I don't know why he did that. I think he wanted the SCV not to be seen. Well, no, it wouldn't be. I don't know what that was. And that was, you know, and he linked me the Lilbao BlizzCon quarterfinal or something to kind of show. So like 4-gate in Max Packs versus Clem occasionally still happens. There's a lot of wiggle room between the two. The games were very decisive in Heart of the Swarm Wings Liberty, but they weren't necessarily exciting. They were just kind of building up the two bases. A lot like these games, and then just winning a lot harder, actually. And then we got to Swarm Host Mech, and, you know, that sucked too. This is different than Reapers, obviously, guys. You should just... For anyone who's audio only, this isn't Reapers, this is Marines. Clem is like, you're just gonna continue doing this. I'm gonna continue abusing you. And we got ourselves a 1 racks cheese. Too bad he didn't 2 racks, right? Unfortunately, Lambo... He actually... He did scout his second Overlord in a more Reaper location. But then it wasn't the Reaper location, I suppose. Clam is absolutely going to wall this time around and not try and go for a low ground expand. Because unlike the Reapers, which would be moving around, and you need to track them and try and corral them or body block basically for the queens, you know, sacrifice yourself for the greater good. Lings here actually do nothing. So yes, they are going to try and grow across the map, but this is very well practiced. This would be the case of the 2 racks as well. Make sure to get that Hellion out. Now the next step is a little more difficult, and that is if they are going into roaches, which technically Clem, I don't know if he saw. I don't know, the Marines were out. Oh well, now he sees. That is a little more difficult. You gotta get a tech lab, right, and then you gotta get into a Cyclone, which if you were building Hellions, if you went to like a reactor after the first Hellion, then you cancel, you build, like it's the timing is tight. Timing is very tight. But he did start building the tech lab, it is done. Cyclone should be on the way. Marines trying their best to at least, you know, if they buy time. That is something. This one Hellion also is like, attack me, yeah, super cool, trust me. With only 2 Ravagers, I don't think we're busting down the depots anytime soon, or even the tech lab. SCV should be pulled though, and try to repair this. I thought you would want to repair it 1 go around. But apparently not. He actually wants the Roaches and Ravagers in so he could have trapped one. Almost did, and oh, I didn't move it! Oh, that happened with the Mutas last game. So yeah, kind of a trap set up that right there. I think it's still very dangerous to do, but it worked out. Yeah, the Viking is to push away the Overlord so the Ravagers can't get that high ground vision. Can't get the high ground vision, they can't bust down structures and open up an opportunity. Where is the Viking, though? Oh, he had to land because the Roach Ravager. Okay, well, usually that would be up in the sky pushing away this Overlord, I swear to God. I don't know about this. Clem kind of feels like Clem just playing this. He didn't take this as seriously as he should. Maybe he didn't think Lambo was going to continue to commit, but he saw more Roaches on the way. SCVs do get kind of a good surround, but a Bile actually hits the Viking. That was never supposed to happen. And we didn't save the tech lab. We didn't rebuild the tech lab. No second Cyclone. Yeah, Lambo is going to win with this. That was not the supreme, that wasn't the pristine handling we've seen of a Proxy Rax followed up by a Roach Ravager, which has existed even fairly recently, as in 3 years ago. So I was saying, I think you're supposed to repair that one tech lab for a little bit longer. Right? You're going to lose some SCVs in it, but you're going to have the tech lab alive. You're not going to have to pull SCVs, try and get the surround. And then I think you want to do it until you can get a second Cyclone. Then if the second Cyclone's on the way, you can let the tech lab die. And then you have your bunker down. Maybe a couple of Marines in it from the barracks, which wasn't the case. The barracks took a long time to float back. And, yeah, whatever you're getting from your starport. But letting those Roach Ravagers in, I think it was intentional. Like, I think that was his plan. And he was hoping that he would, you know, trap a Ravager or maybe a Roach as well, and then nip it in the bud. But hindsight, always 20/20, isn't it? Now we got game 2 in this first best of 3. If Lambo were to win this best of 3, he gets another one to play out in the top left of Winter Madness. That is Lambo. Bottom right, it is Clem. What up? So Clem, actually deterred from going for the Proxy Rax, I don't think he has to be. I think he could have defended that last game after the Marine that he chose to go for, and then I think he also still hasn't really been punished for trying to go for the Reaper. Maybe he is assuming that Lambo will finally go for a pull first, and then it'll be far less effective, but that actually wouldn't be the case. There's a drone going around. Gonna grab the hatchery first. So we got ourselves one of the most normal TVZs between these two. We'll see if Lambo still decides to go for a 2-base Mutaplay, or Clem does something different than a 1/1/1. Well, he's already doing something different. He's going for a command center first. So rather than being cheesy on the aggression, just gonna go ahead and macro it up hard. Lambo won't be able to see that for some time, as he did use his first Overlord to scout for the Proxy Reaper. So it's going to be a very, very, very long time for him to see what the hell is going on. And maybe he won't ever see what's going on if a Marine pops out and tries to catch this Overlord. But if a Marine pops out, you don't get scouting what the Zerg is doing. That gets to be kind of scary, so Reaper is going to be on its way. Perfectly timed. Basically perfectly timed. It's weird. It's weird Lambo not being at a disadvantage right off the bat. If you missed the previous best of 3 between the two, Clem was kind of dominating. He might still. The Reaper is out later. So even though all the timings are a little wonky and not nearly as practiced as they were over the last 10 years, probably going to determine that was a command center first. Unless there's something really sneaky going on. Lambo's not even going to bother scouting for it, just puts his Overlord in that safe position. Particularly because there could be a Marine on the way. But instead, it's the reactor transferring over to the factory. Gas was actually pulled off, so you're going to get to, not so enough for a command center, but and a command center. Shortly. Let's just say shortly. It is another 2-base Spire play from Lambo. big believers in it, okay? Alright, alright. Who am I to judge? There were some pretty fun games. This one nearly thrown by Clem. A very different start to the game. I'm gonna go for a Viking first. So the Reaper is able to at least scout their speedlings. Which is still a scout. Could have been roaches for all he knew up until that point. Oh, he actually got in and saw the lair before the Reaper escaped. Okay, so that's fantastic. The first Viking is still kind of funny. I was gonna say he's not gonna swap it off. He's gonna add a reactor. I don't know if he'll go into Vikings, more of them. Just because it's really weird when you try and defend early mutas with early Vikings. Obviously, one just produces a lot faster than the other. And the other isn't really all that helpful as the game goes on. The Viking, that is, isn't all that helpful. You do want to go into Medivacs eventually. Changelings now deal damage when they die. I think it's some pretty early Medivacs. Single engineering bay? Yeah, I was gonna say, you could definitely afford two. That's a decent Ling run by, but the Marines are on the ramp. Viking could land. Yeah, it was just a couple more Lings than Clem was expecting to deal with. So that Ling count, the Marine count is gonna be reset. SC people, some lost mining, 2 SCVs do go down, not bad at all. Get some scouting in there too, but doesn't see anything you wouldn't expect to see. Spire's done, 5 meters on the way. Most likely invest in the +1 flyer, but this time actually getting the Baneling. And this is more normal. There was another game where he did go flyer attack first, but I think that's because the game was already going a little weird. As far as this game goes, it's pretty similar to any version of Legacy of the Void. 2 base muta versus someone who does grab 3 CC. And the count was reset once. The production is pretty standard at this point, so it wasn't too difficult to get back up to, let's say, 16 Marines with 2 Medivacs. Did you see him call in supply? Maybe. I'm not seeing where. I don't see a depot hat anywhere. This is PTR. Marines are in this little nook, but that's where the Banelings could potentially become very frightening, and there the Banelings are being made. This is a pretty dedicated attack. Lambo absolutely needs to do damage with this. Already popping one of mine. Nope, Clem does counter micro. One of the Mines still saved. Very nice. These Mines are obviously very important to defending this. 1-1 not quite done. Combat shield's not even yet started. Here comes the push. Mines. Oh, gonna make a connection on the Muta, which kind of made a connection on the Banelings. Wall to make sure this doesn't get too complicated. Still need more Mines on the field. That's a lot of Banelings with speed, but it is off of creep. Marine's gonna have to split. Maybe SV's gonna have to tank, but there you go. So many of them going down just as they move away for 1 second. And familiar situation, bit of deja vu. Picks up and unloads. That's going to be good enough. The muta count not high enough to really snipe these Medivacs as they pick up and unload. Do end up getting 1, but with nothing in it. And as I was trying to say, this was fairly dedicated. It's not all in, but it was fairly dedicated. The Lambo had been building drones behind this, so now he's on a very good drone count, but not on a 4th base. So that's a pretty crucial mistake right there. This hasn't really been all that clean. Ideally, Lambo would have maybe saturated 3 bases, 6-ish drones, right? And then a 4th base and then more drones. But anyway, trying to kind of catch up on everything that he skipped, going for that attack. Where on the Terran side, we don't really have to skip anything to defend against that attack. We just have to make sure that we don't die. So 3 CC, double upgrades, combat shield's finally on the way. Lambo in a lot of trouble as his mutas are deflected by a single missile turret being mass repaired. Scan ahead reveals no Banelings. Oh no, there's some, but Clem is still going to go for it. He knows that he can escape because the muta's just left his natural. Worst case scenario, or best case scenario, the Widowmine tanks a couple of Banelings, then he can snipe the rest. Oh, the Widowmine even helping out against the muta count. Lambo is going to die. I guess I could still call it. I said dedicated attack. I guess I could have really called that an all-in. It really needed to do way more damage. GG. I'm afraid, mayhaps, the 2-base Muta isn't any better on the 8 workers. Some might argue it's just a Lambo versus Clem diff. Others might argue the command center first was too big of a boon. I would argue that's all the things you would take into account with 12 workers as well. Vikings overpowered. It was the Viking that did it. Well, Clem might actually stop signing up for a lot of the open cups. So yeah, might have been a while. And for our final game of this series, we're on Mothership. Bottom right, Lambo. Top left, Clem. Not gonna Reaper again. Maybe just goes for the command center first instead. Let's talk about cheeses being better. Is just it's obviously a lot of things to consider, but it doesn't really seem like Terrans are too afraid of whatever Zerg could throw out. He won Wardy's Cup this morning, I guess. Was Wardy's Cup on the PTR? Was Wardy holding out? Oh, he's still holding out? Okay, alright. That boy's gonna be forced to cast a game on 8 workers eventually. I know he cast one shortly after the patch release, actually. Wasn't a command center first either, just actually a very boring, regular old 1-Rax expand. This Lambo goes for the hatch first, too. Very triumphant music. What's this little guy doing? Oh, he's scouting. That's right. It's 3-player map. Ah, Barrack scout going the wrong way at first. That's not too big of a deal. He'll see no hatchery and assume that it is bottom right. Has he had some agreements already made that those played on current version? For his like ongoing tournaments, like for his open cups, I'd be surprised he had agreement with someone that they wouldn't be on the PTR. But I don't know his life. Three-player maps are weird. Yeah. I like it. I like when the maps are different. I don't think 4-player maps are going to make a return, which some people were hoping for from the 8-worker start too, and I just don't see why that was the case. That would ever be the case. 6 workers, people were already crying about 4-player maps. There's already a ton of feedback that they shouldn't exist. So why would that change? So I don't know if people will try to bring back 4-player maps, because there seems to be a lot of people like asking for them, but I think the result will be very similar, which is eventually, you know, Protoss players in particular will be like, you know, it's kind of little, it's like a little unfair, like, I don't really like it. And then maybe they'll force cross spawn like they used to. Or, well, I guess it was more like force no close spawn, I guess. And then you get back to the argument that is like, okay, well then why have 4-player maps? You know, it's all happened before, it'll all happen again. Battlestar Galactica. I mean, I hate them so much in StarCraft 2. Well, StarCraft 2 and Brood War are very different games. It was a 2 Reaper opening, which maybe Clan was hoping to get a 2 Reaper, 2 Hellion harassed on that 3rd hatch like he did in one of their previous games. Or was that versus someone else? That might have been versus Raynor. Anyway, not gonna happen. Reaper is taken care of. Hellions obviously have no chance of ever killing a hatchery. And Clem has gone not into a starport. Not into a starport, well, not first, but into instead a 2-1-1 on 2 bases. Maybe this becomes more popular, but this is something that Maru also did on this map on the 12-worker start, so I think this is just, it still has a place, the 2-base 2-1-1. Again, some like particular openers, and I do not know their equivalents on the PTR, I just know it's 15. 15-15, right? Some other Zerg nerds are trying to educate me. I don't know if Lem is win the equivalent on this patch or not. Trying to educate me. Anyways, 3 drones go down. A couple more cancels too, so these Hellions actually did something. But 3rd CC, right? It's not going to be super committed on 2 base. That's definitely fallen out of favor. But to go into the 2-1-1... which I guess hits a minute later with this patch. So it used to, it hit 5 minutes, basically. Now it's hitting 6 minutes, I suppose. All right. Why make it, make it a 10-player map or a 20? Aliens have been trying to chase him down. Looks like they will actually be destroyed. That's a bit of a relief. Teaming up with the 4 Hellions. It's a potential either 2 attacks that Lambo has to deal with, or they combine forces, and it's a little dangerous with Hellions included. Particularly if they did try and add an armory. That is not the build that Clam went for, though. So now it's just the 2 medevacs heading in it. I don't know if this... 6:30, maybe it is just going to be legitimately a minute and a half later than its 12-worker counterpart, and that is just the way that it goes. Maybe Clem's build isn't perfect with the 8 workers. Don't know. But the pacing is still going to be very similar. And that is to say, 2 medevacs hit. Ideally, Zerg does not get banelings for it. They deal with Ling Queen. 2nd attack could be a few different things. So Lambo would love to know that it is a 3rd CC and not a surprise 2-base committal. But even if it's 30 CC, a 3rd medevac can come in. Sometimes with a tank, sometimes with one of mine. And then ideally you still don't need banelings for this, but that is when you maybe need banelings. And the baneling nest is done. No banelings are created. Continuing to just attack the main base. So yes, he's on creep. He's really going for the jugular here. Lambo's banelings still slow. Targeted a queen that almost hit the banelings. This will be cleaned up. It's just constant harass. Clam will be able to keep tabs on the Zerg player, and Lambo, well, his goal is to defend all of the pinpricks here as elegantly as possible. And did he do it here? I'm actually going to say no. Like, as far as the absolutely ideal version of defending against this, you would have not made enough that many lings, or really any banelings, to actually take care of it. Easier said than done, especially with the patch. Yeah, mixing things up, changing things, I don't know. But Lambo needs that 4th base. He needs more drones. Clam has been comfortable on 3 bases for about a minute or so. And Lambo doesn't only need a 4th base, he will also need a 5th hatchery. He's going to grab that now. And Clam is about ready to go for his first kind of real push. We've been dropping so far. 1-1 will be done long ahead of Lambo, whose Carapace is just much, much later. Hydralisk are on the way, not in any significant numbers as of yet. Overlord going to supply block Lambo, unfortunately. PTR is the land of supply blocks as people continue to get used to the flow of the game. And Clem is not all-inning here. It's not going to be an 8 rocks. We've got a 4th command center on the way. A lot of creep having to be cleaned up first and foremost, but there wasn't that much creep to begin with, honestly. And that's very little that there was is entirely cleaned up. No more active tumors. Queen count's not that high, and they don't have a lot of energy either. Nice drag with the Widow Mines. Good attempt anyway. The Baneling's still going to be focus fire, but the last remnants. This Clem takes a very efficient trade. Also still has this army ready to go. Lambo pulls back, perhaps at the exact wrong second, as once again his main base is under attack. Not by very much, so he is mindful of keeping an army over here. I thought Clem was going to move out, but he is now. Now he's moving out. There he's moving out. And again, not a lot of creep spread to work with. This time, no burrow to take advantage of that limited creep spread. Again, Marines able to take out the Banelings. Good news is 1-1 will be done for Lambo, but Clem is still a good minute, maybe a minute and a half even, right, with the Carapace to consider ahead on those upgrades. Well, the drone, you know what? Not a bad drone. Tanking a Widow Mine shot. Way to go, drone. Still very bad news for Lambo here. Equal worker count. Down 30 army supply. Having to force the engagement off of creep. The Banelings are all gone. Hydras might help out here enough. Yep, that Clem is going to have to evacuate, but so many Lings died in the process, and that was not all of Clem's army. He still got the drop off to the top side. He's reinforcing on the center of the map as he expands down the center of the map. More upgrades finishing, including Drilling Claws, 2-2, maybe 45, 50 seconds away. That's going to be a big power spike that Lambo doesn't have a lot to deal with. Lambo is not getting anywhere. That gives me a lot of confidence. He's not getting to a 5th base. He's not getting to a hive. He's not getting to infestors. This is going to be pure Ling Baneling Hydra versus pure Bio with much better upgrades. Not an unfamiliar position for Zerg players, but just, yeah, not looking super great. 4th base settled for Clem as a planetary. What can Lambo really do? Not a lot of creep spread for him any which way that we look, so less advanced notice every time he's being attacked. And in this type of game, which was very much macro to macro, you said Clem difference. I mean, it's not inaccurate. Clem is still probably the best TVZ player in the world. Another base canceled. Another army forced to retreat. Lambo does add on Infestation Pit. No Infestors will be made in this game. Their Braiders siege up, and the Hydras can't really take them on, even though they do have both of their upgrades. Lings and Hydras trying to come in on the backside will be fairly effective, and the Medivacs are out of energy, so the Hydras will rip through this, but Lambo knows it still isn't good enough. There would have been another whole army coming up behind this, so GG's. Clem will win apparently both of the Open Cups today. So he won the Wardy one earlier, and he only had to win one best of 3 here. So GG's. Besides a little kerfuffle with the proxy racks into roaches. Clem looked normal. Clem looked like he always does in TVZ. Very, very good. Except now he's got the extra tool of the Proxy Reaper having more impact than it used to. Chi-Chi machine. Keeping up the propaganda. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't him. Oh, no, it is him. Yeah. Arguing in favor of, I guess, the patch. He cheesed Max Packs out of the best of 3 they played, so he posts... He posts this. But as someone correctly pointed out, Max Pax played like a total of 3 games on the PTR. Can you narrow Medivac after it loads? Yes. I don't think you can unload it. I don't know. It happens pretty rarely. Usually you would neural it just to send it back and kill it. So you wouldn't even attempt to unload, obviously. And that is it for StarCraft 2, guys. A lot more people believed in Lambo after game 1, I guess. Now I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to play some Deadlock. And eat my Pop-Tart. It's a blueberry Pop-Tart. I was talking earlier that Pop-Tarts are so sad now. There's tornadoes. Yeah, be safe. Pop-Tarts are still pretty delicious, in my opinion. But I opened these Pop-Tarts yesterday, and it already felt like it was a lot less. I even was wondering if there was only one Pop-Tart in each of the foil bags. They're just really skinny now. Shrinkflation. You know what's great too is now basketball players all hate Trump. If they didn't already anyway. He's interrupting the good vibes. Well, he's been doing that for years, but particularly for New York. Pop-Tart's got on that Wegovy. Everything's skinnier now. Cheapest. Oh yeah, the tickets prices are insane. But now they can't. New Yorkers can't watch in bars around the arena. And with the way that the Knicks were playing, I mean, it wouldn't have been insane to think that they could 4-0, which means that the winning game would have been in New York. But if Trump went to game 4 too, then again they couldn't be able to go to watch parties at bars. $7K for basketball tickets. It's New York. It's the Knicks. It's the playoffs. And it's, I'm sure scalpers and shit. This is just a Twitch profile. I don't know what you're referring to. But I get booed into oblivion. I think there's a good chance. There's also a very good chance that it'll be mostly muted by the production. It just kind of looks like on Roddy's stream he's doxing himself. That's a concern. But I think there's still a lot of... There's still a lot of people who aren't rich. That's a concern people have. Is that no matter your stance on this, that it's obviously disrupted. As I said, the vibes. Well, there's at least one guy in the Knicks who likes Trump. I'm sure there's a lot who definitely don't. Then you get, you honestly do have a potential of like fights breaking out over it. Even in New York. Which is certainly one of the reasons they shut down the parties. Oh, is that person? So that, someone just said, like, there's a tornado, gotta go by. Is that person in Colorado? Apparently there's a tornado watch. I have a warning.
Once you summon the hidden king,
let's have a good game, team.
Paradox will know why you are fit to lead.
I remember last time there was a tornado watch. Isn't tornado watch the more severe one? They're like literally watching for tornadoes and seeing where they're going. I forget. You think I would know since I lived in a fairly tornado prone is exactly the right word, but it's not like I live in Oklahoma. Right? I never remember. Oh, okay. Warning means they spotted one.
Need to shop.
So no need to worry.
Tell you what, I'll throw in a free kick.
Plus I'm in the basement already.
This is how you...
Basement nerd really working out for tornadoes, you know? Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm a conspiracy theorist, but it's just, it's...
What's going on there, pal? Okay.
Pull into these alerts. Europe almost never gets tornadoes, though, right? It's the same reason why Colorado actually very rarely gets tornadoes. It has to do with the mountains. And why places like Kansas and Oklahoma do get tornadoes.
Game, of course, right? The game, of course.
Whatever you gotta do to kill him.
Well, I don't know how many times they've been fake, you know? It's not fake to... Just might not be actually around you.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. These guys really want to kill us. Nice power slash, Mono.
Thanks for finishing them off.
What the fuck? What? That was the last thing I ever expected to have happen. Why did he go for the... What?
Assuming control.
On my way.
What was that?
Okay. On my way.
Ah, thank
I'll
you,
be
Roddy,
right
for the
back.
raid. It's a good game so far. This 7's dumb. It's the second time I did. I'm
Out.
dumb.
If someone's by themselves, I'll drag them to where I
Anyway.
want them to be.
Enjoy your time off.
What's it? I got this. Nice job.
I'm on fire. I'm already on fire. Motto's still dealing with the Billy? Holy shit, he is.
Restoring time.
覚悟するがいい。
Bomb ready.
I see the enemy.
And that 7 was like, sorry, Billy. I gotta go kill troopers.
I see Victor's missing.
Ooh, we headhunting. We headhunting now.
More with it.
Let's push blue.
Two missing green.
Take. Oh, I love this part.
And 7 does have a massive head, true. Should be very easy to get it.
Uh-oh.
Have I got a surprise for him?
Come on, 7. Let me swap you.
I see the enemy.
Ah, I'm gonna die. Just swap the 7.
Can't waste
I think
time.
we could have killed the 7 and then killed the Billy.
Good luck not getting shot.
Not the other way around though.
Grow stronger.
Blocking projectiles. Charging time.
You gonna go after the camp?
Now where are you?
This 7 is bold.
Put up with them.
Here we go.
Oh, I missed! Fuck! I'm trying. Okay, there we go. Thought he was gonna legit chase after me with the stun. Do 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 do.
Gently used.
Good night, Mr. Chaz.
Going in.
Let's see who's still standing.
Just missing.
I don't forget. I don't forgive.
You're still missing.
Is Yamato coming in?
Slay them and grow.
Totally ready to swap Billy.
Come back if you need anything else.
They think they're so smart.
I see the enemy.
Can't waste time.
No, we still don't have extra range. Fuck. Ah.
Defend green.
They've taken our green guardian. Greenwich
missing
is
green.
under attack.
Seven's missing. Time to make my move.
Where the fuck is the 7?
It's two missing green.
Gathering time.
I'm gonna get him one day. Oh, here comes Paul.
All the time in the world to kill them.
This is what I have to do.
Pockets on fire, man. It's gonna stay on bullet.
There's so much money over there, Viscous.
I got one of the bags.
There's two 600 bags over there.
I got the 1/6.
Headed to blue.
Really?
Got me. Yep.
Time to do my thing.
Yep.
The spirit urn is waiting to be closed. Stop them from delivering the urn.
Pull back.
Time to end their miserable existence.
It's a lot of people coming.
Let's push yellow.
On my way.
I didn't get the other bag.
Burn.
Victorize his ult.
Planted.
Haven't played with the new urn yet. We're in trouble.
They clean up the urn.
That didn't go well, and we couldn't push.
A green walker is under attack.
I thought Billy was there. Where'd Billy go?
They've destroyed our green walker.
Headed to green.
There you go.
Grenade!
A blue walker is under attack.
Traps out.
So I'll just go over.
Lifting.
No, break down. Some dumb trades.
Pull back.
Speeding up. I should see what I can afford.
I mean, Seven's ult's always been pretty scary, even for the older, but he just overall isn't a great pick for the pros.
Bomb ready.
Pocket was dealing with Viscous. Not anymore. I was gonna say, what is he? He's gotta go into Spirit.
Ah, the old New
A
York
blue
City.
walker is under attack.
Headed to Broadway.
Ooh, there's 7.
Headed to York.
Gotta kill this Pocket though.
A yellow walker is under attack.
I see the enemy.
Setting bomb.
Take this boon.
Maybe an opportunity? Rem should be going over to help.
I see Wraith.
Oh, that's Wraith. Oh.
Headed to blue.
Broadway is under attack.
Pull back.
Committing.
Pulse rate out.
Finally! We got a walker.
Thanks.
If I used comms, could be like, let's go jump on Pocket and doubles. But...
They've taken our yellow guardian.
Gathering time.
And the Billy. Whoop! though we have urn advantage, I mean, it's actually not that bad of a game. Not
The
yet.
spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
Now go out there and impose your will.
We must deliver the urn safely.
Broadway needs help.
Broadway
Deadlock.
is under attack.
Ready for the fight.
Lifting.
I see the enemy.
Wait, what?
Wall set. Charging time. Time bomb set.
I'll show no mercy.
Is he really gonna get away?
I'm boosting you more.
Oh my god. He's really gonna get away. Ah.
Grenade. Nice try.
Our yellow walker is under attack.
Take out Billy.
Need to be careful.
So how did that pocket
Don't
got
make
away?
me kill you.
Should be trying to focus. What did Great Talon do to him? Wait, did they add the names of the characters? It's different,
Having a
right?
bad day? Don't worry, we'll get him next time.
Bought that off the Knickerbocker who's about to get his legs broken.
Explosive planted.
Promise?
You doing doubles?
This part.
Another urn, didn't they?
Pulse grenade.
I see the enemy.
No, no cats today.
Victor has ult.
Are we taking that fight?
Really great.
Time to make my
Taking
move.
that fight.
I see the enemy.
Headed to Greenwich.
Couple more people there.
A blue walker.
Same.
Yes, yes, we knew the whole team was there.
Cries for blood.
Accelerating time. Lifting.
Let's see if you still stand.
Not fair.
They've taken our blue walker.
Maybe too far gone now. We don't have nearly as good as team fight ults. So So I don't think that's true.
They should run.
York is under attack.
They should know better than to mess with you.
I don't really know a way to get back into this. And their team comp is much better. Yeah, I'm the one who should be trying to initiate that, but time I swap feels like we're already pretty dead.
Can't waste time.
Pull back!
No!
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed. Don't let them deliver the urn.
Oh, like,
Soldier is here.
I mean, Yam isn't that great at getting that pick, is she? She can chase someone down, but she can't really.
Okay. Going in.
She can't displace someone. Get him out of position.
Don't waste your bullet. There will be no time. They killed Grey Talon.
They claimed the urn.
Oh, that's super gone. Just feels like I guess in general, the urn, it just feels more like a team fight, right? Just more emphasis on team fights. Therefore, more emphasis on drafts.
The rejuvenator is descending.
They took the rejuvenator. We need to be smart.
Yes, I think let's stay in the middle big.
Here we go.
I got a boost back.
Story time.
I see the enemy.
They've destroyed our Yellow Walker.
Feel free to give up anytime.
I guess what was nice about the urn before it started getting changed a bunch is that obviously it was a team fight objective for professionals, but
We can't shoot them.
it actually wasn't as many team fights, so you felt like maybe there's more individual play that happened.
I'm taking their team apart brick by brick.
But now that the urn has been emphasized, like every single league is about going for team fights. So now every single league complains about drafting and the amount of AoE the other team has. Because even though I think everyone appreciated the newest urn change, it being more of a king of the hill, I still think we're seeing a lot of people who are complaining about way more one-sided games.
Playtime.
such a cunt.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Norton was taken.
Good game.
It's like, I mean, how do you just take on 4 different AoEs that are much better? If you stay in the zone, if you stay in the zone for the benefits when you're at a disadvantage, you could be hit by literally all 4. If you try and dodge 1 or 2, you could still be hit by the other 2. I will play one more game. Drop off rent, use token to hold on to. Well, how do you get the token? How does the other team get the token? People generally think Vindicta's weak. Certainly much worse than Grey Talon. I mean, I kind of like the idea just because that would mean that it wouldn't necessarily be a team fight in one place because, you know, the person with a token could either promote a team fight by saying, like, everyone around me, or they could theoretically try and run away and be like, everyone, protect me. I don't know. I don't have a good solution for the earn thing. I just think I figured out why it feels so much worse for all the leagues. I think it just made the draft feel more important. Like, whenever people would be like, we really need a draft. I'm an Ritualist 3, and I think we only lost because there was a draft difference. I'd certainly laugh at that. It just felt like very rarely there were going to be earns. This was times where you could just get free earns because literally no one was paying attention in the lower leagues. Is the FPS counter wrong? I don't know. If I'm all tabbed, it's probably way worse. Was it worse during the game? I don't know. Could be because StarCraft still does slow down my game, but not as much. People select their favorites on actually a good team comp. I don't know. I don't know how well it works out in other games. Mostly they have draft. Like, it's low FPS now, right? Yeah, that's because I'm all tabbed. Which, I mean, I don't think it should be the case, but I think that has to do with having StarCraft open first. But if I'm in the game... and it's fine. So... But at least if you, there are going to be people who will go into a draft and they will actually say, like, okay, I recognize that we really need something here. And they will do it. Whereas right now, you could have that knowledge and you can't do anything with that knowledge in ladder. Yeah, I just think it made every single league actually team fight, and then it made every single league recognize what's a better team fight composition. Whereas before, as long as, you know, for so many of the leagues, even up to Oracle certainly in my league, even as a team fight, you weren't that great. There's like, you know, 1 or 2 people popping off against another 1 or 2 people who are doing poorly. It felt a lot more impactful. Now it's like 2 people could do really well on one team and 2 people could do really poorly on one team, but a team fight, whoever has the best composition still wins. Archon on drop. I think you're overestimating. Oracle's not great. I think it's like Diamond equivalent to StarCraft, but having an equivalent in mind, it's kind of like when people think Master StarCraft players are going to be really good and we all have like actual build orders and we're all not getting supply blocked or something. And you actually make it to Masters and you're like, holy shit. It's still so bad. Maybe like the top three leagues. I think when you get to top 3 leagues too in Deadlock, you're just going to get a lot more peer pressure. Because a lot more people will know what a good draft is. Or in Archon, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of people who don't even bother commenting on it.
Between the 2 of us, we'll put them right where we want them.
Looking forward to working with you, Paradox.
Oh, that's always a possibility in Mike Sixers. That is definitely one of the downsides I've seen in other games, for sure. But, there's not much to be done about that. But in general, this is, I guess, the downside of making any MOBA more team-based. Which is going to get more and more team-based as you get better, so there's no changing that. But when you suddenly have the entire spectrum of leagues all paying attention to the team battles and feeling that's the most important. I'm in Oracle. All of my games have been in Oracle.
Today you're making history.
When this goes off, they won't even know what hit them.
Thanks for having a big old head, 7. You'll call it out. Oh, just if you do match up against me. Okay. Almost got him. Almost got him. Is he gonna go back or is he gonna try and heal? He went back.
Going to shop. Going to shop.
He didn't go back. He was hiding in the subway station, I guess. I thought he went back because they weren't. Holiday wasn't letting the heal minion very close.
They'll fight on my terms.
I got one of those for the missus. Big fan.
Ring time. Bomb ready.
I see the enemy.
Where'd she go?
Thanks for having my back. Accelerating time.
Damn it!
Have fun.
Valkyrie out.
Get a little defense. Finally an apple. Well, that's always nice. I haven't been to an Applebee's in years. I don't even know where an Applebee's is around me.
I see Wraith.
Thank you.
I gotta say though, it does kind of seem like these, I don't know how you call them, these chain restaurants seem to be getting better deals than like the fast food joints.
Explosives planted.
Pretty crazy.
Holiday's missing.
Holiday is missing.
Thanks.
I wonder what's at the shop now.
I mean, that actually might be possible. Sushi's fairly healthy. You got some greens and some sushi. You might be right. You might legitimately be able to live off of that. Fuck. Fuck.
Setting a bomb. Take. Time this right.
Kelvin's missing.
Time right. Stopping. Bebop is down.
Calvin's one.
Headed to yellow.
Not really, actually.
Headed to York.
Time bomb primed.
You can get unlimited sushi for 20 bucks a month.
Headed to blue.
20 bucks for lunch.
Thank you.
They can't shoot through this. Time to make my move. They should run. I don't.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good job.
interesting times, don't we?
Time's on front.
A boon from our patron.
Can't wait to swap people through this.
Dude, if you do you go to Japan, and you go to Kyoto, I have a recommendation for a sushi place.
Here we go.
Best food of my life.
Nice to work with someone who's a team
This
player.
really cool, like, family-owned sushi joint. Like, my mom and I went, and we absolutely stuffed ourselves. And even when we were pretty damn stuffed, we still got more, tuna belly. It was so good.
Bebop is gaining momentum.
Yeah, Colorado
Holidays
sushi
missing.
isn't great.
Holidays here, careful.
There's decent places, but even if you try and get, you know, more expensive, more gooder, it doesn't.
Let's take out Holiday.
Doesn't get fantastic.
Headed to Yellow.
They destroyed the Guardian.
There's an
on
all-you-can-eat
Greenwich.
sushi place that's pretty good near me, nearish me. It's like a chain. It's called Chubby Sushi. It's pretty good.
Thanks.
You know, if the salmon is
What the
decent, I'm
fuck is
pretty.
going on?
I'm
There's
pretty
4
happy.
people in our lane.
Headed to Broadway.
Greenwich.
Headed to Greenwich.
No, it doesn't exist anymore. I'm
A
so
Green
stupid.
Walker is under attack.
Yeah, I think it's like $30. Probably you can eat there. It's because of rich people.
Heading to Green.
They should run.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad it didn't actually. Yeah, although Bebop was coming. Oh well.
You don't control Paradox Ray. Explosive planted. Setting the bomb.
He got stuck. He got stuck.
Waste time. Bebop is down.
I don't know why he stopped running. At best, you know, Victor dies and buys time, but we're never. He had his ult, so. Don't know why he stopped running.
Stop them from delivering the urn.
Make a statement?
Knockdown.
Headed to Green.
Headed to Greenwich.
Is it possible to make a non-decent salmon? Yes. Like, the... Salmon is the ultimate marker for me, you know, which is like... If it's poor quality, everything's poor quality. If it's media, everything's... You know what I mean? And, yeah, I've been to a lot of places that have really bad salmon. Like, very fishy, and you're just like... Alright, nothing's worth it here, then.
The urn has been dropped. They destroyed the Guardian on Yellow.
Ah, and a cat. There is a cat on me with his nails. God.
Such blessings the king shall give.
If you like that, I got some other
Yeah,
stuff
definitely.
off the truck.
Definitely been to a couple of bad places. Been to a couple like places that actually had very, very good sushi, but not fantastic. And for the most part, even if their salmon's pretty good, their tuna's still not. So I just generally could say like I don't like tuna. But that place in Japan, it was like you could get like a platter of like 3 different like fats of tuna, you know what I mean? And it was, every single one of them was great. And it was pretty damn cheap too for the quality. Go back to Kyoto just for that place, man. Like that's some of the best food I've ever had in my life. That and my trip to Greece in April. I went in this like wine tour that was also, you get dinner at this farmhouse, and it was so good. And the Greeks were all like, oh, you can make this at home, it's just about having fresh ingredients. And I'm sure they're right, but every single cucumber I've ever bought from a American store has always disappointed me, so. I got knocked down. I want to knock down this stupid. Oh. Oh no. No, no, not the unicorn! It's fucking survived! God damn it.
Pull back! Defend Greenwich.
Hate when the unicorn survives. I would say also so far, you're not wrong, like a proper experience is obviously going to be pricier than going to some fast food joint, but my experience going to like really expensive places, like the most expensive places I've been to have not been the best food that I've ever had. It might have been nice experiences, but I'm gonna kill the unicorn. I need help killing the unicorn. Oh, I thought that was the holiday, to be honest with you. I don't know, something about their silhouette looks similar. Thought she was gonna lasso me. Dream about that pot roast. Yeah, I was dreaming about the tuna for a while after it. 200 per head for 7 course. Well, that's always nice when paying that much works out, you know? Like I said, like I paid a decent amount for like good experiences, but not the place that I'm like dying to go back to. Seven's getting rich.
Heading to blue.
Oh my god, it doesn't exist. Why do I keep doing this? And why won't they give us back this vent? I loved this vent. I feel like they underestimated people's emotional attachment to this vent.
Playtime.
Heading to yellow.
First time I tried Wagyu, it was like a bunch of friends went out. I want to say it was with someone kind of important. I don't remember who. Maybe it wasn't. Anyway,
Time to make my move.
And like there was like an option to try like a little piece of Wagyu, you know, for not that expensive. So they got it for everyone. And there you go.
Not today.
Fully upgraded the thing.
They killed Vendetta. Pulse grenade out.
Headed this way.
They've destroyed our yellow walker.
We're all having an identity crisis. Anyway, and I didn't actually think it was all that worth the hype.
Your king cries for blood.
I completely missed what I did.
A blue walker is under attack.
I might have done something wrong, but I don't know. I don't have to pay attention to the chat. Maybe the Vindicta was being hunted by someone at the stop.
We need to keep this up.
I see Kelvin.
Swapping now. They did that Venator.
This is only the beginning.
Ah! Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
A blue
Need to
walker
be
is under
careful.
attack.
I'm all alone.
But she was sitting on lane? Okay. Maybe I could have taken the
Greenwich is under attack.
the alleyway to avoid hitting her with the ball, but definitely didn't even notice I had the ball. I know what was going on. I didn't notice I had it. It's pretty funny though.
Headed to the right. 7.
Time comes for everything.
She should have gone on to use teleport. Probably.
Storing time. Leave this to me. Take.
Uh-oh. Hi. Run, bitches! I love this Venator, though. He's not running away and he's not helping. Yet somehow he's going unnoticed. You're supposed to notice when people break the boxes. What?
Greenwich is under attack.
How did they just completely skip him? He does headbutt to melee, yes.
Destroyed the walker on Greenwich.
Time to end their miserable existence.
Kind of sick. It is kind of cool. Man. It's just Vindicta's Stake has the weirdest animations. I wonder why it bugs out so much.
The rejuvenator is descending.
Damn, that was fast. Guess 7 was working on it.
They got the rejuvenator.
Yeah, I do need to clean my place. It's been on my to-do list.
Headed to Broadway.
I should walk them through this.
A teabag you? What? Oh. Obviously, we shouldn't have been looking for a fight, but I was hoping we'd kill the Wraith long before the rest of the team showed up. That didn't happen, though, did it, Apollo?
They've taken our blue walker.
Yeah, try to vacuum of hair. There is a lot of hair. Whenever I clean my place, I have to empty the vacuum like 3 times. Otherwise, the vacuum gets... The canister gets full and it starts to, like, overheat, I guess.
Defend the stronghold. They claim the earth.
For lights out or emotional support, I think they mean for smells. All of our cats are really lazy. And they don't cover their poop. They're smelly kitties. Does that mean they feel safe if they don't cover their poop? No, it means they're lazy. And kind of dumb sometimes.
Such arcane mysteries.
Sometimes, like, some of ours are enclosed, some of them aren't. But, like, on the enclosed litter boxes, they'll be pawing, but at the door. Like, the same motion they would use if they were trying to cover. They just hit the door. And then they're like, job well done! And then they leave. So you didn't do anything.
Story time. Dictate that banister.
Nope.
Death brings consequences once more.
Well, we were rocking and rolling in the beginning, weren't we? I don't really blame Comp for this one.
I don't know what that does, but my kid says all the mystics are buying it.
Feels like we had a pretty good shot, and then...
Can't waste time.
Then we didn't. Oh, that was a nice snipe.
Speeding up.
The comeback?
Setting the bomb. Bomb after this.
That sounds...
ID Kelvin.
The bomb is down.
Oh, please.
Gary, just wait for the grand finale.
Bomb ready. Almost gone.
I hit as many of my demons. I'll have them.
Embarrass is done.
I'll show no mercy. Finished with you yet?
Time to make my
Fucking Kelvin! He's back! He got healed up!
Enjoying the show.
Damn.
The way of the Hidden King's ascension.
Looks like there might have been something, but oh well.
pulse grenade out.
Move. Oh. Was I? I'm not trying to be gracious. I really didn't think there was anything special. Oh. We don't have a lot of, Oh, our Vindictive's entirely spirit? Lame!
Take the king's boon and be blessed. The spirit
gonna say they don't have a lot
is
of-
waiting to be claimed.
Need up on blue.
They don't have a lot of ammo, or gun
The
resistance.
rejuvenator is descending.
Don't make me hurt you.
We delivered the earth.
As far as it goes, not a bad sequence of events, actually. Wish we lost one less person in middle. Oh, and Venator's gonna get on. Oh, never mind. I was like, if 3 people live, we got Ern and a walker. It's really not too bad. But, only 2 people live. And I still gotta fix
Defend
everything.
the stronghold.
We've gotten closer. I think there was a 60 soul gap 4 minutes ago, yeah? Now it's only 40k. Aha! The comeback is real. Anyways, I was looking at what we had here. It's a pretty good split of damage, actually. But since they have so little gun resist, except Celeste, I bet if Vindicta was going gun, I bet it'd be so good. She's going steak. Steak. Right. She don't really know what I want here. No one else is getting items.
Good luck, Paradox.
Oh, we gotta do the thing. We gotta do the thing. Someone say steak? Steak. Cat Thrower! Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Everyone's been so supportive this last week. It's so nice. Thank you. Thing is, we do actually have pretty high pick potential. Like, we just need to get a hook or a really good
Time to do my thing.
I see Kelvin.
Out! 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 Glad I didn't swap. Glad I didn't swap. Run away. Run the fuck away.
Lifting.
Let's ash.
Take.
I'm not even sure who I... No, not the ball!
Explosives planted.
Fuck! Ow! She killed me really fast. I didn't have that much high health left. Bebop's in some trouble.
We need to stop them from progressing further.
It's over.
Where's the rejuve?
Well fought.
Good game.
Good game. Good game. Need help on yellow. That was fun.
Perfect timing. My cats have been very annoying. What are you doing?
Things keep going my way.
Yes, fucking Kelvin. Just fucking sniggin. First it was the Celeste. Couldn't quite kill. Oh boy, objective damage. And it was the Kelvin. Ugh, so annoying. Those were kind of warm up, you know. I haven't played Deadlock in a few days. Just, you know, what do you expect here? Thanks everyone for sticking around and watching Deadlock. If you're around for StarCraft, hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back Wednesday, but not tomorrow. Okay? Alright, bye-bye.